Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the qualifying watch-along for the Italian Grand Prix, hence the Ferrari gear this afternoon. How are we all doing this morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world? Hope you're having a good one. I'll do some shout-outs in chat, so get your highs in there, and then we'll do some shout-outs shortly, just run through a few bits, a few early thoughts. That's what we'll go with. So very much looking forward to this. If FP3 is anything to go by, and actually the weekend as a whole, we are in for a very, very close fight for pole position and throughout the field. I'll run through the result. You can see it on screen there in a few, but actually less than a second separating the entire field today. So lots of close action, hopefully saying, of course, that might set us up for a lovely Grand Prix. And Ferrari are in the mix. I've put on the Ferrari shirt, so prepare for a double Q2 elimination. That's usually the way it goes here. We'll go through some news as well. There's been a bit of surprise news today, some other news yesterday, and then after the session, if not today, probably tomorrow, if not today, I do want to talk about Stefano Domenicali and his comments this week about shorter F1 races and why that's absolutely ridiculous, and they're completely ignoring the actual issue, which is nothing to do with the length of the races and hasn't been for 70 odd years. So there we go. But anyway, as a motorbike goes past, well timed. Hey to Police 291. Hey to Michael. Says good morning, chat and Sean. Hey Michael, hope you well. Dave's here as well. Dave the Fish. Hey Dave. I hope you're having a good one. It's exciting quality ahead. Hey to Biker John, to Suzanne, to Annette, to Ewan, to Jithu. Hey Jithu, hope you well, mate. Alfie as well. To Tim. To is it Lewis beer reviews or Louis beer reviews? I'm gonna go with Lewis beer reviews. That's my shot there. Hey to Kevin here for the Constructors Championship. RC, hey RC says Sean Murray Ferrari t-shirt. Why am I not surprised? Warren says there's a good chance one of the top teams will have a driver out in Q1, given how close it is. Good shout from Warren there. I bet the cut-off time is a bit tight for some people, but yeah, hope you're all having a good day and a good weekend and ready for Monza. Of course, the last race for a couple of weeks, and then it's Baku, and then it's a couple of weeks till Singapore, and then we really are getting into the business end of the season. Of course, big result in Zandvoort last time out for Oscar Piastri, 34-point lead. Yeah. No, I've addressed that already. Won't do it again. Ferrari won't win a constructor. I think, Kevin, and I can't be sure, McLaren might have this one in the bag. You never know, but I think they've got it in the back. Hey, Max as well. Hey, CPV as well. Says, hello, Moto. I did the accent and everything. There you go. I'll just run you through the FP3 result from this morning in case you didn't catch it. Lando Norris fastest today, 1:19.3 with Charles Leclerc in P2, 200ths of a second behind, not far away at all. Piastri, P3, a tenth and a half further back with Verstappen, 2,000ths off in fourth, so it is close. George Russell, right in the mix up there as well, getting on for 200ths behind Max Verstappen. Gabriel Bortoletto, P6, oh yes, and incredibly, only a couple of tenths off pole position, or the fastest time in the session. So if Pascal's here, you never know, we might get a dance later. Lewis Hamilton, P7 with Isack Hadjar 8th and Antonelli 9th and Alex Albon 10th, 4/10 of a second separating the top 10. Nico Hulkenberg 11th, Fernando Alonso 12th, Carlos Sainz 13th, Franco Colapinto 14th, 15th for Yuki Tsunoda, 16th for Liam Lawson, 17th Ollie Bearman, 18th Pierre, 19th Lance Stroll, and 20th Esteban Ocon. Like I say, 9/10 of a second separating the top 20, the entire grid. And actually, just looking through those gaps between drivers, the biggest gap between any two drivers is at 0.144, and that is Leclerc to Piastri. Everybody else, if just quickly glancing down there, yeah, everybody else incredibly close, a few hundredths in it, so we could see some surprises. We really could. Hey Craig, hope you well, mate. But yeah, we could see some very, very close battles today for positions. We're gonna, how critical is the toe gonna be? What is that worth down the straight? Could, I don't know, Red Bull sacrifice Tsunoda if he did get to Q3 to try and get Verstappen up there for pole position? Obviously McLaren won't sacrifice one of theirs, but if Antonelli's struggling, could they sacrifice him for Russell? The toe could be a big deal here, but I hope we don't get any of that chaos that we had in chat, remind me, was it 2019? All that ridiculous nonsense where we had all those cars driving so slowly and, oh no, I've run wide, and letting everybody else through so they could get the toe, and then only about 2 cars managed to get a lap in the end. It was yeah, it was a bit silly. I think that was 2019. It could have been 18, but it was somewhere around there. It was back in the old days. Let's put it that way. But yeah, got some news today. I will ask you a question as well in a second, but we'll do the news stuff because there is some interesting stuff. Actually, this news this morning came out of nowhere, and I love that. I miss those days. The same with football transfers. You spend 4 weeks being linked to somebody, and then apparently an offer's gone in, and then it takes ages, and when it finally gets announced, you're sort of like, oh yeah, whatever. But this came out of nowhere today. Pierre Gasly has signed a new multi-year contract extension that runs through until the end of 2028 with Alpine. Yes, he has indeed. So he is with them until 2020, or the end of 2028. I said, didn't it? Yeah, I did. End of 2028. He said he's thrilled to commit my long-term future to Alpine as a Frenchman, especially driving for French car companies, soon to be using a German engine. Makes me feel very proud. Since I joined in 2023, I've always felt this team is the right place to be for the future. Flavio supports and belief in me. Francois' commitment to the Formula One project, as well as the people we have in Enstone, made this a natural decision, and I want to be here in years to come and deliver on our joint objective to win races and world championships. And Briatore says, since I returned to the team, I've always stated how important it is to build and grow the competitiveness of the team. We're all prepared for the new era of Formula One beginning in 2026, and now we have our lead driver confirmed to bring us well into the future. Pierre has been an immense asset for the team during this challenging period. Now, I've seen a few people on social media not happy with this and feel that I saw somebody compare it to Stockholm Syndrome, which I appreciate is just a joke, but it's still like, okay, calm down. But a few people seem quite mad at this and annoyed, and they feel Pierre Gasly is better than Alpine and should be looking for a drive elsewhere. My response to that is very simply, where? He's not going to McLaren. He's not going to Ferrari. He's not going to Mercedes. He's not going to Red Bull. He's not going to Aston Martin. Williams have got their drivers locked down. Haas aren't planning any changes. Cadillac have locked theirs down. Sauber are sorted for next year when they become Audi. And I've forgotten a team, whoever they are. They're not changing either. I always forget one every single time. So his choices were Alpine or sit on the sidelines for a year or two. So it was the only thing really open to him at this stage of his career. And yeah, he's signed till 2028, but if he decides in 12 months' time that it's not the right place for him and somebody like a Mercedes does come knocking, then he can get out of that contract. It's not a problem. We see it all the time, don't we? So drivers can move whilst they're in contracts. You just have to buy your way out of that contract, or the team has to buy the way out of that contract. So he's signed till 2028. It doesn't mean he'll stay for that length of time, but he has secured his immediate future, which is good. But I don't think it's that big of a fuss, really. It was just a nice surprise to get an announcement that hadn't been rumoured for weeks on end, that we all knew was coming. It was just nice to get a bit of a shot this morning. So there wasn't really anywhere to go. I still think Alpine could be a little bit of a dark horse next season. I'm not talking wins in the championship, but certainly with that Mercedes power unit, and if they get a good chassis, they might do well next year. So I think that's a good place to be. I think the biggest question around Alpine is who on earth is going to be his teammate. So lots of rumours this week about Colapinto. Will he see out the season? A lot of rumours about Yuki Tsunoda possibly getting dropped for the final 3 races of this year to allow Isack Hadjar into that car, which I think is a terrible idea, by the way. What a way to drop a driver's stock and help them lose confidence by putting him in a car they know they're not going to deliver in. Just let him finish the season at Racing Bulls, for God's sake. Let him have that at least, and then get him in that Red Bull for next season when things change. 3 lots of testing as well next year, so lots of time to get up to speed, plus simulator work and programs. So yeah, as an aside there. The other big news this week is that Monaco has extended its contract to 2035. Are we happy, chat? Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that coming either, to be fair. I mean, they only signed a new contract, was it last year or a couple of years ago, for 8 more years? So they've decided now to go till 2035. So we've got Monaco for a long time, which, from a historical point of view, I'm very happy about, because I love Monaco because of the history and the the drivers, watching them flat out, or as flat out as you can be around Monaco, giving it everything between the barriers in qualifying. I've said this so many times. Qualifying in Monaco is an incredible spectacle. The race, I mean, you could barely call it a race, can you? So from a racing perspective, maybe not, but from a historical watching drivers having to keep it between the barriers, I am quite happy it's staying, but I appreciate not everyone's going to agree with that one. The other thing as well, Williams have triggered a right of review for Carlos Sainz's BS penalty at the Dutch Grand Prix. Just trying to find out. I can't remember what the date is, so I'm just having a quick scroll through the article now to see when they'll have a look at that one. But I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I might be wrong. Let me know if you get there before me in chat. So Sainz gives a 10-second penalty. We know that one. Stewards, we've read the report several times. For me, if you look on board from Lawson, not from Carlos, you'll see that his head is completely in the mirror, says Vals. He's not looking straight ahead. He's looking in the mirror at the half at that point in time. We talked about that yesterday. The car washes out. The thing is as well, look, forget all that. I don't want to get back into it because we talked a lot about it last week, but by the racing guidelines, the penalty's probably correct. However, Liam Lawson's not in control of his car either. So, and I've watched it back, and I still think the Sainz penalty is BS. And I still would call that a racing incident and nothing else. But some might scream for a Lawson penalty. But we've got a right of review coming. I don't know when they officially are going to announce. I'll try to find it now. I did have the article open, and then I closed the wrong page because I'm a genius, and I thought, why not? But let's just see. Here we go. The F1 website might have it. I could just go look for the thing, but I can't bother to read through another steward's thing. Right of review, Colapinto Danforth. Williams said it is important for us to understand how to go racing in the future, and we are hopeful of a positive outcome. Further information over the review and when it will take place is yet to be communicated by F1's governing body, the FIA. So we haven't got... Oh, that was a couple of days ago. Do you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it because I'm going there anyway. The FIA page thing. Watching me jigs. See if it is in there anyway. We had a couple of investigations during the weekend as well, which didn't really do an awful lot. And I can't seem to see. So they may not have spoken about it yet, which is probably why we don't have a thing. But there was one other thing to clear up from last weekend, okay? Where is it? Here we go. I'm going to read you this because we weren't live post-race when this happened, so I apologise for going backwards. I don't like going back to last weekend unless I need to, but I have to make my point. You know me by now. Sean's got a point to make. He's going to make it. So this is in relation to Charles Leclerc and George Russell's moment. They go through it. No further action for causing a collision. That was the one where Charles Leclerc went down the inside of George Russell at turn 12 and then appeared to cut the track and whatever, and got that done. They go through it all and they say that car 63 had been ahead of car 16 at turn 11. Car 63, that's Russell, lost the position to Leclerc at the exit of turn 12. We investigated, with the benefit of the driving standards guidelines, whether either driver should have done something different. I'm just going to go to another screen here so you can see it. We also looked into whether car 16 remained on the track or left the track at turn 12. The available evidence was inconclusive as to whether car 16 left the track. Both team representatives were in agreement that there was no clear evidence that car 16 had left the track. I'll leave that photo with you just for a second while I read that again. We also looked into whether Leclerc remained on the track or left the track at turn 12. That's turn 12, by the way. The available evidence was inconclusive as to whether car 16 left the track. Both team representatives were in agreement that there was no clear evidence that car 16 had left the track. I assume we've all seen that. That's absolutely fine. There we go. Sure. Look, I'm a Ferrari fan. Of course, I'm fine with that, whatever. But it just made me laugh when I read it. And then I went and found out a photo and went, maybe you should ask XPB to take a picture next time. There might be reasons. There might be specific points at the corner where they consider it's not a cut because he's been forced wide or pushed wide or whatever. But just the wording there made me chuckle. So I thought I'd share it all with you. I guess, yeah, it depends on your definition of track, says Michael. But Charles Leclerc in that photo, as you see, is 100% all four wheels, the other side of the white line, which of course in qualifying will be considered track limits and so therefore will be considered off track. So yeah, but again, it doesn't matter. It's been decided. It's been done. They're very inconsistent anyway, so it's just more inconsistency, I suppose. But I still think the Russell one and Leclerc one, the wheel barging is a racing incident. I don't see anything in that one. The cutting of the corner, however, makes you want to question that a little bit more. But I mean, the evidence was inconclusive apparently, so what can you say? But Yeah, didn't matter too much to Leclerc's race, of course, because it all just fell apart last weekend, didn't it? But Lewis Hamilton comes into this weekend as well, by the way, just a reminder, with a 5-place grid drop following his failure to slow for yellow flags on the reconnaissance laps in Zandvoort last weekend out the final corner and into the pit entry. So that one was slam dunk. Hamilton declared it as hardcore. And when you look at Karun's analysis, he is sort of bang to rights, but my biggest criticism there is, again, like Sky's criticism and many people on social media, why did it have to wait until the end of the race when it happened half an hour before the race started? That surely, they had all the data, they had the telemetry, they had their eyes, why they couldn't make that decision? Because now he carries that penalty into this weekend, which doesn't seem fair. The penalty itself, if he's broken that rule, is completely slam dunk and fair, but to carry that into Monza for something that he did in Zandvoort seems a bit ridiculous. But I suppose their argument will be he retired from the race, so they've got to do something. But that penalty should have been applied before the race even started. That was a pretty easy one to do, unless they had to talk to the drivers, I suppose. But yeah, weird. Let's see what you guys saying on all that news I just threw at you. Threw that information your way. Why not? Let's see what you're all saying in the chat, and then we'll get to quali. We are 9 minutes away from the start of the session, so very much looking forward to this one. I will put a question to you as well while I read some of your other comments. I got what I thought was a ridiculous comment on the race watch along last week, saying that I talk too much. I know, shock to everybody. And that I should talk less, show more. They don't want my commentary. So yeah. So just to clarify one thing, I can't show footage, and anybody with a brain cell should be able to know why. It's called copyright, and I know in 2025 a lot of people don't understand copyright law, but all the information is on the F1 website if you'd like to read it. That is quite clear on what you can and can't use and why you can and can't use it. So it's not really rocket science to work that one out. So I can't show you the footage. Secondly, if I sit here, I'll tell you what, just for that person specifically, here's how the stream would look and sound if I talked less or didn't say anything at all and commentate on the race. It's thrilling, isn't it? I'm very excited by that one. So very weird comment to me. If the point is they don't want me commentating on the race, that's fine. So I'm going to put it to you, chat. Would you rather I did my B-Tech Crofty, my terrible Crofty impression, and tried to commentate on the race, or just sat back, chatted with you all and watched it as a fan? Because either way is fine by me. You guys can have the say on that one. I can sit here and do the whole it's lights out and away we go and all of that nonsense, or I can sit and go, oh, bloody hell, what do you think of that, chat? And then we just talk for a bit for 2 hours. It's your call. I don't care either way. I just thought that was a little bit ridiculous. But also, if that person, I don't think that person meant it to be rude or anything. It was just feedback, but I just found it a bit odd. I'll never understand how people don't understand how you can't just steal other people's stuff and use it either. That's weird. Do you think Pierre made the best decision by staying at Alpine till 28? It says to Kiru. I do, because I don't see where he goes anytime soon. I feel like Pierre Gasly, he had his shot at Red Bull, didn't work out. That does seem to go against you in F1 sometimes, doesn't it? So stay at Alpine. He's a team leader there as well. Lead that team, maybe get them to winning races and championships in the future if they can. People may laugh. Enstone have done it before, so they can do it again. And I think he's in the right place for him, because if he goes to a Mercedes alongside George Russell, or a Red Bull again alongside Max Verstappen, or a McLaren alongside Norris or Piastri or somewhere like that, he's going to be the number 2 driver. So I think he's done the right thing for now. Let's see how everything lands next year in the driver market. He might change his mind very quickly. Split Monaco into 2 races, 60 minutes reverse grid, second race, says Tim. If they move to Lego cars, Monaco might work, says Michael. That'd be great fun. Monaco isn't a problem. The cars are too big. The racing is great in Formula E, which conveniently has nimble cars, says CPB. Banging the drum we've been banging for years. Inconclusive, lol, says Warren. Depends on your definition of the track, says Michael. We said that one. My point would be, if I watch Monaco, I actually watch about half of it. It was split, I'd watch it all, says Tim. That's fair enough. Get the soapbox out, Sean, tried to make a point. It just, the whole thing was just, it's the fact that we had no conclusive evidence, yet XPB had a photographer there to take a picture of that moment, and the evidence is clear and obvious. The colour is close to infrared, and in cameras it's difficult to focus properly, which makes Charles' car appear off the track, says Kevin. Fair enough. I hate penalties being carried over. I understand why they do it, but I still hate them, says Annette. FIA like to stir the social media. Antbed, says Michael. It's funny you say that, Michael. I have my suspicions sometimes about the team radio they choose to broadcast, or the number of replays we get for a controversial move that they then share on social media. I have my suspicions, but that's definitely a story for another day. Show more, no offense, but no one's coming here to see more of Sean as much as we love him. Yeah, I'll keep the clothes on if that's all right. Talk more, Sean, just to tick him off, says Sticklebrick. I don't think I can talk anymore. I'd like to, but I don't think I can. Kevin says stop talking so much about copyright. I won't repeat that, RC, but I generally agree, but I'll try and be fair and nice about it. More tinfoil hat theories, please. How is Jonty, by the way, says Warren. He was all right last time I spoke to him. Was talking about, what was he talking about last time I spoke to him? I won't read his messages because, you know, he shared something from W Place. I have no idea what that means, but yeah. I was just impressed with the fact that I took the time off for the summer break that I needed. Could we get AI Sean, says RC? Why would you need AI Sean when you've got AI Elizabeth? I like Sean's rambling. Keep rambling the way you want, Sean. Yeah. Or make Monaco a sprint weekend, with the sprint being in Formula E cars. Your choice if the sprint sets the grid or not, says Neelish. Or Neelesh. Yeah. They can go somewhere else to not hear you commentate, but we can't go somewhere else to hear you talk, Sean. We are here because of you, so shrug. Thank you, Jithu. Yeah. I figured you were... I feel like we're a good enough community that if you didn't want me commentating, you would say mid-race, can you stop commentating, Sean, please, and just let's chill. So I feel like you'd have said something. But we are ready to go for qualifying. And to the person who left the comment, there's absolutely no hate there from me. I have to defend myself in that situation because I didn't understand the point, really. If you want me to be quiet and silent for the stream, then I will be, but then no one's going to watch it. So yeah, let's get everything set up for quali. Of course, as I've just touched on there, no on-screen, on-track footage for obvious copyright reasons, which we should all know by now. It is 2025 after all. So, although I will say, in defense of people, copyright law can get a little bit confusing. But generally speaking, don't steal other people's stuff and you should be fine. Live timing is provided by Multiviewer for F1. Thank you to those guys, as always, for providing the live timing and the track map for us to do these watch-alongs. Link in the description to the app. The app is 100% free. However, you will need an F1 TV subscription. That can be F1 TV access as well, so that's the cheaper one. And it's all about... as a Ferrari fan in tears already there. It is a baby, to be fair. But it's all about customizing your viewing experience with as much or as little data as you like. And you can do so in the link down below. So thank you once again to Multiviewer. I have tested this for FP1, FP2 and FP3. It is working this weekend. However, as I pointed out on Sunday last week, if it does break for me like it did in Zandvoort, there's nothing I can do apart from keep refreshing. So apologies if it breaks again, but it was working when I tested this across the weekend. So hopefully... we will be fine. Who have we got for pole then today, chat? I went with Norris on Thursday. I'll stick with Norris. I will say, though, he has done a great job so far this weekend. Appears the quicker of the two McLarens, but 7 days ago he was the quicker of the two McLaren most of the weekend, and Oscar Piastri just rocked up out of nowhere and took pole position. So you can't count your chickens until they've eaten their eggs and pluck their donkeys or something. But yeah, let me know in the chat who you're going for. I'm going to stick with Norris for now. I may change that for Q3 if he gets knocked out before then. But yeah, I think Norris is his favourite here for sure. So Annette is going with Piastri. RC says if it breaks, blame Sean. Yeah. It's always my fault in the end, isn't it? Norris has to start taking risks now. There's a gap, says Joe. Norris, Leclerc, Piastri for RC. Norris, Piastri and Albon for Michael. Rashad says Sunny Hayes. Rashad says Sunny Hayes. There you go. Oh, I can watch that film now, can't I? It's available for renting, so I can... Although renting on Sky is like £16 and the film itself to own is 20, so you might as well just buy it. But yeah, I might watch it at some point. Is it worth making the point as well, actually, that pole here is still important, but actually with the longish run down to turn one, it can be a bit of a hindrance. It's not quite to the levels of Mexico as the cars come to the end of the pit lane. We've got the new track map, by the way, from Multiviewer, so you should be able to see them in the pit lane there a bit clearer. I've made the drivers a bit bigger as well, so I can make them bigger again, but I did them to 25 and they looked ridiculous on the map. So we are 20 seconds away from the start of the session. Sainz top 5, says John. Tell you what, that Bearman looks like a good driver. Maybe he will be on pole, says Kieran. You never know. I believe Max will get pole, says Warren. That'd be good. What about a 1 minute break whenever suits with the start music playing for catching up on chat, says Tim. Could do something like that. Pit lane is open. We are go for qualifying. I will bear that in mind, Tim. That's a fair shout, actually. I'll think about that. But yeah, so we are go for qualifying. As I say, I am slightly actually ahead of the live feed, so I may just... I don't dare touch anything now because of last week. I don't think it was a multi-viewer issue, by the way. I think it was an issue my end. There were some settings that have changed in the update, and I hadn't changed them to what I needed them to be. So they sort of automate syncing, whereas I would normally manually do that, and I think that's what threw me last week. But because I was live and trying to work that out, my brain would not compute. So there you go. Anthony is on the media. Antonelli is on the mediums fund. I did spot that one on the timing tower there. I'll check when we see him go out. He is out on the mediums indeed. So is George Russell. So just saving a set of softs there, maybe. Mercedes for tomorrow. I don't think. Famous last words. I'd be surprised if, given how close the field is, if anyone gets through Q1 on the mediums. Yeah. I assume the chicken was eating a chicken egg, but it could be any other species egg, says Neelish. Yeah. Well, yeah, true. Could be any. It's not necessarily cannibalism, as you say. It could be any egg that a chicken eats. An ostrich egg. Do you know what? A chicken eating an ostrich egg. I think I'd pay to see that. That'd be an experience. The size of an ostrich egg versus a chicken. Anyway, how did we get here? Sean says something stupid and we got there. So John says currently on a train, so listening to you whilst looking on Twitter. Thank you, John. Hope you're intrigued by where you're travelling from, but I hope you have a safe journey wherever it is you are going. I'm trapped in my office. I can pretend I'm on a train, but it's not. Yeah, I do like trains. Trains are cool. I like trains. It's one of the things I always look forward to on City Skylines when I'm building my city. I was like, I've got to find something with trains. I need trains. Anyway. But not necessarily, trolley trains or DRS trains. Fred Vasseur, a bit of pressure on him this weekend, not because he's done anything wrong, but because it's Ferrari's home Grand Prix, and there's always pressure on the drivers and the team to perform. Otherwise, the Italian media tomorrow will rip them to pieces. It's what they do. It's the passion, it's the love. We all love Ferrari. And there'll be loads of people in chat now that say they don't, but if you say you don't, I don't believe you, you're lying. Everyone loves Ferrari. Except for some days where I just want to throttle them. But yeah. We haven't got any times yet. We've got Bortoletto heading out there to get his lap on the board. Antonelli. There is Russell moving to the top of the timesheet. Still yet to get his lap in, though. So we're waiting for our first one across the line. Did see a couple in practice yesterday doing 2 cool laps and then a flying lap. So I don't know if that is what we might see today. It's quite warm, by the way. 26.3 air. That's way too much for me. 44.8 track temperature. So yeah, it's warm. Definitely not as chilly as it was last weekend at Zandvoort. No rain expected today or tomorrow, by the way. I think less than a 5% chance. So you can never say 100% no rain, of course. So drink every time the banks are shown, says Kieran. I don't fancy a stomach pump. As Ollie Bearman does a 120.7. Lance Stroll goes second on a 120.8, and Esteban Ocon did a 121 flat. As Gasly does a 120.7. Bortoletto next on a 120.3. Alonso, is this a hot lap from Alonso? It is indeed a 120.5, and then we'll have Colapinto, Hulkenberg, Antonelli over the line next to see what they can do. Colapinto goes third on a 20.6, ahead of Gasly. We're now at a point, 119.9 by the way for Hulkenberg and Antonelli at 56.6. But correct me if I'm wrong, but are we at the point now where Colapinto's done all these racetracks? We're certainly close to that if we're not already. Yeah, Sargent was dropped after Zandvoort, wasn't he? After his big crash at Zandvoort, I'm sure he was. So, and Colapinto was here last year. So that means he's not learning these tracks anymore. So this is a chance for him to just get on with it and show what he can do between now and the end of the season if he wants to try and keep hold of that seat. I think Flavio Briatore would like to keep him if he could, but it will come down to performance as Charles Leclerc does a 1:19.801. And there's Hamilton, a 1:19.9. We've got, I mean, look at that Hulkenberg, a 10th off the fastest time. 400ths off Lewis Hamilton there. So Sauber are quick this weekend. Williams have looked good as well. So I'm quite excited for this. This is going to be close. I think we're going to get an upset in Q1 and or Q2 here. I really, really do feel like that as a racing ball's going on the outside of the Ferrari there. Craig says Ferrari are overrated Fiats. I'd love a Ferrari though. Wasn't this where he had one of his best performances? So if you want return on the investment, now is the time, Franco. I can't remember, Joe. It took me ages to try and get that one out of my head, so I'm not quite sure. But I will say, no, I won't say because I've already said it. I was going to say this is opportunity between now and the end of the season to show what he's got because he knows the tracks, but I've just said that, so I won't say it again. I'll keep up, don't worry. Where did Sainz end up with his deleted lap time? So 1:20.4 would have put him 5th fastest, Neelish. But he has a lap time deleted for track limits at turn 7, which is the second Lesmo, so he's been wide there. So would have lost time on that one as well. This track very much self-policing, of course, when it comes to track limits. I just say this as well. Mercedes actually quite competitive on those medium times. 1:19.9 and a 1:20.2. I expect the cutoff is going to be around a 22, 23, but a 20.2 or 20.3, but that's not bad at all. So maybe they will get through Q1 on the mediums. They've saved themselves a set of softs for later in the weekend or later in the session. So good point for Fudd. How many gravel affected laps will there be? We've also got to think about potential red flags as Tsunoda goes 5th on a 1:20 flat. We could get red flags in this session because of gravel, particularly out of Ascari, where Hadja had his moment on Friday. As Verstappen goes 2nd, 100th of a second off Leclerc, but McLaren, both them yet to set a lap. So let's see where they are. At the moment, it's looking very, very good. Colapinto did well here last year because he was in a Williams. Yeah, they were very much still the slippery team, weren't they, in a straight line last year, Williams. They were better at most tracks, but they seem a bit more consistent across races this season, not necessarily just these slippery, low downforce tracks. Norris is flying, by the way. Going to go fastest here, unless something happens. He does indeed. By 0.2 of a second. Piastri, not quite as quick as his teammate. In fact, actually, that's been the story of the weekend so far, as I said earlier. So Piastri just goes 2nd, though, only a 10th off his teammate. In fact, exactly a 10th off his teammate, which is a nice round figure there. Traffic is going to be a factor later, I would say, as Hadjar does a 1:20.1. There's another pair of Logan and Jakes. Are they also a bunch of... Yes, says RC. We'll leave it there. I know what you're saying, yeah. Logan Sargent. This is Carlos Sainz. So this is through the Lesmo 1, and then he's going to come into Lesmo 2, and I'm assuming he's going to kick up a bit of gravel on the exit here. He is indeed, yeah. I'd say he's close on the right front, though. Watching from the other angle should confirm that. Yeah, he's over. Well over in the end, Sean. Close, no. So that's with a mistake. So that 20.4 is with a mistake, and it would be enough now for P13, but check the floor, says Verstappen, who's also had a moment at the second Lesmo, turn 7. Lock up from Albon there. He's going to complain, I imagine, about the Red Bull on the inside of turn 1 there. Or didn't complain at all. I'll shut my mouth. So everyone will be in soon for a new set of tyres, and then we'll go again. But yeah, getting some laps on the board here. Interesting enough. Albon's had his lap time deleted for that lock-up as well. Yeah, lap time, always lap time deleted. Pierre Gasly secured his maiden victory at the Italian Grand Prix on this day in 2020. Was that really 5 years ago? Bloody hell. That was a hell of a day, wasn't it? Wasn't live for that then. I wasn't doing these then, so that was quite the day, wasn't it? Carlos Sainz P2 and Lance Stroll P3, of course. Stroll quite, I think, as I recall, again, correct me if I'm wrong, chap, but as I recall, Stroll was a little bit annoyed at himself not last year, 2020. He feels he could have won that, but didn't he make a mistake? or was he just slow at a restart? I can't. It's 5 years ago, but there was something around Stroll being disappointed with that. Yeah, five whole years. Goodness me, time flies. I mean, Ricciardo was 21, wasn't he? 2021. So for his win in the McLaren, that was long before McLaren became the force they are today, or it feels like a long time ago. It wasn't that far ago. Albon goes ninth, by the way, 120.0, so flat-ish. Alonso did a purple first sector. So keep an eye here on Fernando Alonso. No more he ain't, because Nico Hulkenberg has just done a purple first sector. Is this track ramping up a bit, or are the second runs just better runs? Here goes Leclerc, moves up to second place. Stroll goes 8th. Alonso goes second, half a tenth off Norris. So these second runs, bear this in mind for later. These second runs are more impressive. Russell's done a 26.5 in the middle, which is purple. Hulkenberg is on one out there. Slower in the middle sector, though, unfortunately. So it seems to be working quite nicely. Hamilton moves into 5th place. Norris, Alonso, Leclerc, Piastri, Hamilton is your top 5 at the moment. Your bottom 5, Antonelli, Ocon, Lawson, Bortoletto and Sainz. That was still not enough, by the way. Carlos Sainz's lap would not have got him through, so getting it deleted is a pain, but it's not really going to matter too much. He would have needed to go again, as Russell goes fastest on a 1:19.4, 2 tenths quicker than Lando Norris. So this ain't over this session. Hulkenberg goes 7th. Bortoletto goes 4th. A less than 3 tenths of the fastest time by Russell. We're gonna get a mixed up grid here. Love a mixed up grid tomorrow. Sainz goes 3rd. That's better. 1:19.6. His second run. What's that? 8 tenths quicker than the one that got deleted. That's incredible speed. Fastest on mediums. Great spot there from RC. I'm sure others will have spotted as well on the timing tower. But yeah, fastest on mediums there for Russell. So maybe the medium, the way to go. Will somebody else try it, or will they keep those for the race tomorrow? Yeah. That would be a fascinating grid for tomorrow, wouldn't it? That top 10, that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, long way to go. Yeah, we've still got 6.5 minutes in this session. And then, of course, we've got 2 more qualifying sessions to go. So it's going to go quiet now as everyone comes back to the pit. So 2 runs. Track ramping up, 2 runs as well. Seems to be the way to go. So bear that in mind for the rest of the session. Obviously, they get 2 runs in every session, but I mean 2 runs consecutively. So 2 laps rather than coming in and changing tyres and going again. So 4 runs, I suppose, technically, but 6 teams in the top 6. That's actually something fun that I spotted last week for Zandvoort. The number of teams in the top 10 come the result. I think it was 6 or 7 there. So it's close out there. It is close out there. I saw somebody chat about something. I still can't remember why Daniel was struggling with the McLaren during 21 and 22, says to Kiru. Good question. I never looked into it. I can't remember what the reasons were. Somebody in chat will know. I think it was explained. The car just didn't seem to suit his driving at all, did it? But the big news, of course, this week on Daniel Ricciardo is he's confirmed, or has confirmed, that he has finished racing. That is it. He's retired from motor racing. So he's now a brand ambassador for Ford. So he gets to travel the world on Ford's money. And all he has to be is Daniel Ricciardo. I mean, not a bad gig that at all, is it? So, yeah, Daniel Ricciardo has retired from racing. So that's the end of that. I saw he got the Ford. He shed a Ford tease and everyone's like, oh my God, he's coming back to Red Bull. And nah. It wasn't. I'm not sure if anyone knows, says Neelish. Maybe just his driving style mismatch. Yeah. The car was bad, says RC. Antonelli, by the way, said that the balance was fine on the car, but he had no grip. So, as RC said, they're going to have to go on the softs there. I think most... Can Russell risk it? Staying in the pits, do you think? Or go out in the mediums again? Or... It's so close out there. 1:19.7, Ted says there is a cut-off time. So that means everybody from Piastri down is definitely going to have to go again. And I would say Leclerc, Bortoletto, everyone's going to go again, haven't they? Yeah, Russell can't leave it. It's not worth the risk. Oh, here we go then. So we've got 4 minutes to go, ready for this final set of runs in Quali Ocon on the radio. I'm alone in front, exactly what we said we should not do. So we are going to get some games for the tow here. Antonelli goes out on a set of soft tyres. A good look at the timing screen. He has indeed, yeah. Soft tyres for him. Everybody, I believe, is queuing for pit exit. I just want to double check on Russell. Russell and Alonso are not moving on the track map, so maybe they are going to gamble and stay in. I'll tell you if they do move, but yeah, I'd be surprised. Certainly Alonso. Alonso is not safe there. Yeah. Through the pit lane for Ocon. Get a tow on a second run. Trabzonspor has agreed to sign Onana on loan. He might actually leave. Prayed for these days. Yeah, loan's not enough, though. Just sell him. Bloody useless. You know, Al Harrington. It's a football. This is for football fans. Apologies to non-football fans, but you know Al Harrington on Family Guy with the wacky wavy arms man. That's basically the goalkeepers Man United have. Onana and Bayindir just flap and wave their arms at everything. Yeah, thanks for that update there, RC. Who is here from F1 Gamer, says Snow. I'll let chat answer that one. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I'm trying to think what F1 Gamer is. So please do let me know, Snow and Rob as well there, and Race Ace as well. Why? What's happened there? I'm not sure. So if you are new, welcome. Please do drop a like and subscribe. Live for all the races and qualifying as well this season. So his stream is lagging apparently. Thank you, JD. Appreciate that. Letting me know. Sorry if F1 Gamer's going through that. That's frustrating. I get it sometimes on YouTube when I'm watching people live, and it does it to mine as well. It gets a little bit annoying, and there's not a lot the streamer can do. Unfortunately, you are at the whims of YouTube. They're a bit like that one, so hopefully you'll get that one sorted. But you're welcome here. Thank you for popping along. Please do like and subscribe. Always appreciate it. Like I say, live for quality and race. Got previews and all sorts on the channel, so lots to come between now and Abu Dhabi. We've got a minute and a half to go here in Monza for Q1. It is close out there. Bearman goes 6th fastest on a 19.6. My right mirror is becoming loose, says Leclerc. Was it Leclerc who adjusted his mirror through 130R at Suzuka one year in his Alfa Romeo, and we all went, oh god. Thank you to Race Ace 13 for subscribing. Appreciate that. Your name will pop up on screen. I'll try and do shout outs. I might do some in the gap between sessions if we've got a few new people here, but yeah, appreciate the company. Love spending my Saturdays and Sunday afternoons with you all. Verstappen goes P2 on a 1:19.455, a 1:19.414 for Russell is still the fastest time. Antonelli only a 1:19.747 in 11th place. That well, if the 19.7 is was it a 19.7 the cutoff? Antonelli's in trouble here. That was a TED cutoff prediction, not necessarily an official one, as Hadjar gets a little toe there on the run to Parabolica. Not much. He'll come through. It's Curva Alboreto. We still call it Parabolica, though, because habits and all that. It's an iconic corner. Hadjar is going to keep going for here. He needs a good lap, does Isack Hadjar. Only P15, 1:19.9. Lance Stroll on a 1:20 flat. It's just behind Hulkenberg. Does a purple first sector. Gasly doesn't improve. He is out. Colapinto goes 16th. He's not through, but he does out-qualify Pierre Gasly. So well done to Franco Colapinto. Boy, did he need that. Alex Albon next up. Norris's time has been deleted. There goes Albon into 15th. Knocks out Hadjar. Bortoletto's on one. Hulkenberg's on one. The checkered flag is out. These laps have got to count. Norris should be okay, though, even though his lap time was deleted. It wasn't a quick lap. 1:40.393. Hulkenberg, middle sector again. Not great. Not great at all in the middle sector for Hulkenberg. That's a shame. Bortoletto improving across the board. Here goes Hulkenberg. Stays 13th. No, he doesn't. Bortoletto stays 7th. Hulkenberg stays 13th. I think, actually, all that excitement we were expecting there hasn't really come to anything, as Isack Hadjar sits 16th, Lance Stroll 17th, Colapinto 18th, Gasly 19th, and Lawson P20. What has happened to Racing Bulls here? Of course, it's still home soil for them, isn't it? Technically, I think. Yeah. There we go. Through they go. And Piastri gets his lap finished, but doesn't improve at all. Stays 10th. Norris is improving in the first sector, but he's through, so it doesn't really matter now. May even box. So he's going to finish the lap, though. Why not? So that is Q1 done, I believe. Everybody, there's a few cars still out that haven't got the checkered flag by their name, but I think that is pretty much game over for them. Their sector times are not improving. So we have lost Isack Hadjar, Lance Stroll, Franco Colapinto, Pierre Gasly, and Liam Lawson all out. I'd say the Racing Bulls being down there is a little bit surprising in some ways, but Russell was fastest on a 19.4, Verstappen on a 19.4 as well, 400ths between them. Norris a 10th of a second, Tsunoda up in 4th place, 2/10 off the fastest time, a 10th behind Norris. Sainz was 5th, Alonso 6th, Bortoletto 7th, Bearman 8th, Leclerc 9th, Piastri 10th, Antonelli did get through in 11th. I thought he'd be in trouble, but he's okay. 12th for Hamilton, 13th Hulkenberg, 14th Ocon, 15th Alexander Albon. So where's that pace gone for the Racing Bulls there? That is a shame. I can't remember whether we're in practice 3, but I feel like they've had more pace than that this weekend. That was quite a strange first session, actually, wasn't it? We had lap times improving on their second runs in that first set of runs, if you like, in quali, and then the track seemed to improve, and then they didn't really move much after that. Some did. Some made some big jumps, but most of them kind of in and around where they were. So does that point to a 2-run strategy, if you like, for qualifying? Would that make sense? Depends what the track does, I suppose, between now and then. I'll just see if there's any... yeah, thank you to Alan and to Race Ace for subscribing. Appreciate the support there. If you do subscribe, and I don't give you a shout out, by the way, it's just that Streamlabs doesn't list everybody for some reason, so apologies, but I do appreciate every sub and like as well, so please do get those in. Massively appreciated, as I say. Really looking forward to the rest of this season. I know that the Drivers' Championship has taken a bit of a hit, and I'm hoping that Norris can get himself back into it, just so that it's not going to be a really long drag to Abu Dhabi. But even if it was all over, we've still got quite an exciting season, because, as you say, that grid is incredibly close. 8.5 tenths of a second ish, give or take, between the entire field. That is close, and it's only going to close up as the season goes on. Development stopped, but you know, it's still going to get closer, so we don't want it much closer. It's chaos. It's quite exciting though. Looking forward to this season, whatever happens. So Van Dorn for pole says farting golf balls. Of course, Van Dorn for pole. He doesn't have to race. He doesn't have to race and he gets pole position. He's just that good. FIA stewards, Q1 incident involving car 12, that's Antonelli, failing to follow race director instructions for the maximum delta time. Yeah, investigate. Yeah, nothing will happen of that. It never does it? So what's your feelings on boring Monaco getting a contract extension until 2035, Sean? Personally, I hate it. Plenty of other more deserving entertaining circuits to choose from. Q2 start will be delayed. They're just going to sweep up some gravel, I assume, down at 4-5 and through the Lesmos as well. But I did say at the start, from a historical point of view, I'm happy that Monaco's staying, because it is a big part of F1 history. It's great to watch the cars in qualifying, particularly around there, but I understand why people are angry from a racing point of view, because it's not the best, is it? But I am quite enthused, good word, by the fact that apparently Hockenheim, Portimao and Istanbul Park are in talks about a place on the calendar for the future, so 2027 and beyond. And of those three, if I had to pick one, it would be good to see Hockenheim back. It would be great. So yeah. SB says angry. Who will be angry about an F1 race? Or you'd be surprised, SB. Hop on Twitter. People get angry about nothing. It's madness. It's something that I sort of sometimes scroll through and then just laugh and sort of go, oh, for God's sake, get over it or grow up. It's my favourite line at the moment, when I see people get angry over nothing, that it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But yeah, people do get angry. So, but I'd love to see Hockenheim back. We haven't seen it for a while. Portimao, it's a fun track, and I enjoyed it when we went there, but if I was ranking them in the order I'd want them back, it'd be Hockenheim number 1, Istanbul Park number 2. I love that track, by the way. It's a great track for racing. And I'd put Portimao 3rd, but that's not to say I don't like it. I just think the other two, I think I prefer those, to be honest. But it's nice. It's nice to have some European tracks linked with a return to the calendar. And it is also good to hear Stefano Domenicali. We'll talk about his other comments, like I say, either after this session or tomorrow. But it is good to see that they are clear. They're not giving up on the European races, but we'll see. It depends who offers the money, I suppose. But I read somewhere that South Africa, Kailami, I believe, I might be wrong, Kailami, I might be right, yeah, have got the backing of government for funding for their race. So there is a possibility we'll see South Africa. It's the one thing I think we need on the calendar is South Africa. But I don't want us to end up on another street track. There's so many tracks around the world that I'd slot onto the calendar versus as much Lawson's mistake the first Lesmo there on his run. But yeah, a lot of tracks I'd remove from the calendar and put other races on from around the world, including the American race. I mean, we've got why is Miami there when you look at some of the circuits in America that are just incredible tracks. Why we're going to soulless street tracks when we can go to some amazing circuits around Europe and the rest of the world. It's just weird to me. But hey, cash is king and all that business. Portimao blue for BMW is a nice colour though, says Kevin. Craig loves bacon. Just saying, lol. I may be reading that wrong, but yeah, Hansi says Kyle Army is definitely bidding for it. I know someone from the track who confirmed the story, says Hansi. Thank you very much, mate. It's good to know. I thought I wasn't going mad. I knew I'd read it somewhere, but yeah. Remove Monaco, give me a Sepang Grand Prix all day, every day. Oh, Mohammed, you can come here again. Yeah. Such a good track. I'll never get over it. And the thing is, though, what will happen is it will come back one day and it'll just be a really crap race. And everyone will go, why were you picking this up for so many years? I'm like, because it used to be brilliant. It was the... didn't Herman Tilke have a hand in the Österreich ring becoming the A1 ring? But I feel like Malaysia was like his first proper brand new... What I would consider a Herman Tilke track. Yeah, I love that circuit, and I love the drama in its first race. Of course, we are waiting, by the way. We are talking about this because we're waiting for Q2 to get going. There's been a delay while they sweep up gravel. We are a minute away from that. But yeah, I remember the drama around that first race at Sepang. Michael Schumacher coming back and just casually destroying the field. The team games he had to play to help Eddie Irvine win, and then all the drama afterwards with the disqualification and then the appeal and all of that. It was a baptism of fire for Sepang. We are go for Q2. 15 minutes for this session, of course. First one out on track. Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. So we are go for Q2. Who is going to get pole? We've got a long way to go yet before we find that one out. Kevin loves the random comments. I do. It's just totally random, and I go, okay, cool. I love bacon. Wicked. It's so random. Singapore is the only real defensible one because where else? Says Neelish. Yeah, I don't feel like... I don't feel like Singapore is soulless, though. I think the fact it came as a night race gave it its own unique thing, and it always looks spectacular. And actually, to be fair, for a street track, the racing isn't as bad at Singapore as it can be at other street tracks. So actually, it's not too bad. So I do feel that sits on its own as a street track. Not every street track is bad, of course. Some, particularly the hybrid ones, are pretty good. So intrigued by the Mad Ring, which they still haven't rebranded, and I hope they never do. Next season, that's going to be really fascinating. So, outlaps, by the way, for Sainz and Albon. We'll just wait for them to get on their flying runs before we start talking a bit more about what's happening out there. Hockenheim sucks now. They can't bring back the old 90s blast through the woods, says farting golf ball. I disagree. I don't think it sucks. I think for racing... I think the new, which isn't new, layout works better, but as a spectacle and the noise, 100%. I love the old Hockenheim. Incredible stuff. So here we go then. We've got Carlos Sainz. He's going to be first to do a flying lap in this second session of quali. We've already lost, by the way, Hadjar, Stroll, Colapinto, Gasly and Lawson. That is your bottom five for tomorrow. Don't be surprised now we're at the business end of the season, by the way, if some of those, if not all of those, decide to take a full new power unit for tomorrow just to get another one in the pool. They may as well. if they're particularly Lawson down there in 20th place, might be worth doing that, or changing setup and going even more slippery if that's possible around Monza. And their skinny rear wings is ridiculous how skinny they are here. Of course, Albon and Sainz are quickest in the first sector because they're the only ones on a lap, so that purple is good to see, but not really meaning of anything just yet anyway. What were you saying in chat while waiting? Jonathan Wheatley started to look a really good race direct, says Warren M. Yeah, I like Jonathan Wheatley. I think I feel it now, but I think further down the line we're going to see Jonathan Wheatley as the one that got away for Red Bull. Yeah, should they have let him go, sort of thing. No, I haven't got a choice, have they? If he wants to go, he can go. But yeah, I'm not picking my nose, but I've got a real itch all of a sudden out of nowhere, which is really annoying me. So I might just cover my face in a minute. Nobody needs to see that. There goes Sainz on the 120.2. We're going to be much quicker than that come the end of the session. Is it a 118.8, the record that we're looking to beat here? Well, I've got 118.887 in my head. It might be wrong. It could very easily be wrong. It probably is wrong. So we're keeping that's the fastest ever lap time around the track. Lewis Hamilton set that one. So what watching from Alex Albon then? So he's coming into Ascari. 8, 9, and 10. If you don't know your corner names, he's very wide on the exit there. So that's why he's lost a lot of time. Error 121.4 in the end versus his teammate. So 1.1, nearly 1.2 seconds slower than Carlos Sainz there, and that'll be why. Everyone now out on track, apart from those we've lost, of course. They are still sat in the pit lane. Wish he had a second Japanese Grand Prix. In my opinion, the country has the best racetracks in the world overall, says Nilesh, and an incredible fan base as well. So where would the second race in Japan go? Could it be a Fuji? We've been there before, haven't we? So I'm trying to think where we could go in Japan. But I think there are a few countries we need to be at before we start adding multiple races to one country, to be honest. So Verstappen obviously purple, 2/10 quicker actually than Carlos Sainz. So worth noting, a few unused tyres, including the two Williams drivers, Bearman, Ocon, Leclerc, and Hamilton, all on used tyres at the moment. So if you're a Ferrari fan, then why do you have models of Aston Martin lighting? It's the channel colours is green. So I've gone with the green for that. It's more of a lime green, though, rather than a Aston Martin green. So I maybe need to try and see if I can tweak that at all. I don't think I can. But yeah. Verstappen is going to go fastest here unless he really messes up Parabolica. Russell and Antonelli improving. They're on new softs, though. So interested to see what they can do. They were on the mediums, weren't they? Or Russell was in that first session. A 119.1. Oh, for Verstappen, we're getting ever so close now, aren't we, to that fastest ever lap time. 120 flat for Ocon and a 119.6 for Bearman. I'll tell you what, actually, on a used set of soft tyres, that's not a bad lap time at all from Ollie Bearman there, the 19.6. 3.5 seconds quicker than his teammate, and not that far off Max Verstappen, half a second now. But Russell, he goes second on 19.2. Antonelli's a 119.4, and actually that's a good lap time. That is beaten by Tsunoda. Tsunoda's on it this weekend on a 119.4. Look at that up in third place. Bortoletto is on one here. He's purple in the first sector. There goes Leclerc. He goes third. Norris on the radio. We need to box this lap. What's happening to Lando Norris? Bortoletto goes third. There's a new set of tyres as well. What's happening to Lando Norris? So this is going to now be the intrigue of the session. He doesn't give his teammate a toe either. Make sure he's backing well off. Bortoletto still fourth, but Piastri only third. There is a 1/10.5 between the top three, 2/10 between the top 4-5 cars there. Norris had a lap time deleted for turn 1, lap 10. So I wonder if he's made a mistake and flat spotted something. Possibly. I'm just wondering if there's a lock up there that because if he's had a lap time deleted at turn 1, he's made a mistake. So what if they're just thinking, get in and get some new tyres on? Let's have a look. It was a lock up and then straight across the chicane. There we go. Yeah. Didn't go to the bollards though, which I think they let him off on that one because he was already well into the corner. So obviously they felt it was better to get him in and get some fresh tyres on. So I don't think there's any sort of mechanical problem there, but it would be just his luck after Zandvoort, wouldn't it? But they are putting fresh tyres on, so I'm assuming that mistake is why, and they're going to send him straight back out again. So all good there. First part of Q3, Crofty says they might use those tyres for. Ham with a toe from McLaren still. I don't know if he did he get a toe? Ace, I'm not sure. I was watching what's happening with Norris, so I didn't quite keep an eye on the Ferraris there, which is weird for me. I'm usually watching them and crying, but here goes Norris as a fresh set. So all good with the car. It was just that mistake, just that mistake at turn 1. So what have we got then? 6 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Verstappen fastest on a 19.1. Russell is second on a 19.2. Piastri also on a 19.2. 4 thousandths behind his teammate. Not his teammate, behind Russell. Gabriel, not teammates yet. Gabriel Bortoletto fourth. 300ths off. Brilliant out there from him. Leclerc in 5th. Tsunoda 6th and Antonelli 7th. Again, very small margins between them. This is very, very close out there. Hamilton 8th. Sainz in 9th place. He moves into 600ths off. Hamilton a 119.5. Bearman a 19.6. Alonso a 19.7. A 20 flat for Ocon. A 20.1 for Albon. And a 21.2 for Hulkenberg. And the used tyres are on Leclerc, Hamilton, Bearman, Alonso, and Ocon. So more laps, more lap time in there in theory. Albon, a little lock up at turn 1 as well. So really compromised his entry and exit there, unfortunately. Why do they have that little strip of gravel in turn 1? Seems stupid. I spotted that during the F2. I did wonder if that's just designed to stop cars, or is discourage a word? But discourage cars from just flat across. You know, when they lose it, they go straight across it. Rather than leaving them the opportunity to go flat across it, is that designed to sort of encourage them to slow down rather than just... from what I've seen, though, they seem pretty quick still cutting across there. Particularly, was it Megatuniff in the F2 today? I may be wrong. May get me drivers wrong. We bumped into Alex Dunn, having cut across that corner. So maybe not through the gravel, but I just wonder if that's just to slow people down. Yeah, it doesn't get the track dirty. That's a good point, Michael. Yeah. But you know what drivers are like. They need to... But it looks odd, doesn't it? It does look like, and I'm sure this isn't the case, but it does look like they said we need a strip of gravel at turn 1, and they've just gone, they are. Is that what you meant? And the FIA have gone, well, not really, but fine, whatever. We're seeing those strips of gravel turn up everywhere now, aren't we? I quite like it. It seems like a nice middle ground between sort of the asphalt runoff and the gravel traps. As Norris does go personal best, but is slower than Bearman apparently through there. Who is the cutoff? Interesting. Ferrari teams doing good here, says Nilesh. Yeah. Who have we got? Yeah. Like you say, Bortoletto, Leclerc, of course, in the Ferrari. That's natural. Bearman up there in the Haas. So, yeah, that's good to see. I'm going to go do some Googling afterwards, Michael, see if I can find out why that strip's there. I assume it's just to try and stop them flooring it across the corner, but Norris pushing hard here to get his lap in. I keep getting surveys from people. I don't know why. Leave me alone. I'm not doing surveys. Only 7th for Norris. So he's going to have to... Has he got time to get in and do another... He hasn't got time for another set of tyres, has he? So he's going to have to cool them down and go again, because I'm not convinced P7 on a 119.4 is going to be completely safe. But the thing is, though, and this is where we're at the moment... 119.4 for him, but then you look at Tsunoda on a 19.4 in front of him and Antonelli 19.4 behind him. It's only a 19.6 back to Bearman in 11th, but it's also only a 19.1 up to Verstappen. So it's so tight out there. I'm going to keep saying it because it is, but it has to be a double cool. They said that radio before. There you go. Yeah, double cool makes sense. They've got time. They haven't got time to pit for another set of tyres, but they have got time to cool, and then go again. So. But these are the final runs of Q2. So just a reminder, we've got Bearman, Alonso, Ocon, Albon, and Hulkenberg in the bottom 1:19.5. Sainz on the bubble. Verstappen fastest on a 1:19.1. 2 seconds covering the top 15, but only 9/10 covering the top 14. So Hulkenberg's lap a bit scruffier, I think, than we realised. Nina says, feel like it won't work out for Norris. The only thing I will say is that in that first session, we did see those who did a hot lap, then cooled, then went again. Their lap times did improve. So he's going to have to give it everything. But this is sort of territory he doesn't need to be in, because a yellow flag, anything like that, can make all the difference. 1:19.4 is a projected knockout. So everybody has got to go again pretty much. And we'll see what the track does to improve. Is everybody out there on track? Yes, they are. All 15 of them. This could be fun. Looking forward to this. McLaren has altered the deal. Lando must pray they don't alter it any further. What do you mean, CPB? I'm intrigued. Is this another tinfoil hat theory, or is this something that I've missed? I'm sure you'll let me know. But, yeah. Here we go then. I'm trying to work out. I'm not quite sure. If it was fuel for 2 hot laps, that would have compromised his first lap time. Bit good point for Citizen Erased. Very good point, actually. Yeah. I can't remember what a lap of fuel is worth in F1 lap time wise. That's something else I usually have in front of me, and I haven't got it now. So, Star Wars quote. There you go. Does Max have a good chance of winning the pole driver? Says Rainbow True Colours. He's there at the minute. Obviously, it's only Q2. We've got another session to go. But the Red Bull definitely more competitive than I expected coming into this weekend. So, you never know. Let's see how we go. Long way to go yet. We've still got another session. So Ocon only goes 12th, Bearman 11th. Bearman goes up 7th, now, and ahead of Norris. That's a critical moment. Here comes Antonelli, goes second fastest, only a 10th off Max Verstappen. And that was a purple final sector as well. Alonso is improving. Where does he go? He goes 7th place. Watching the timing tower. That was like a fruit machine. It's always happening. Here comes Lewis Hamilton. He needs this lap, does Hamilton. He is only marginally down on Verstappen. I'll wait to see what he does over the line. But Hamilton hasn't... Where is Hamilton? That's Leclerc over the line, sorry. I apologise. It was Leclerc I was watching over the line. He is 5th fastest at 1:19.3. Hamilton down in the first sector. Green in the middle sector as Piastri improves. Norris is not improving either here. Hamilton goes through. Lando Norris will get his lap in, but it's going to come down. Huge pressure on Lando Norris here, so this isn't over just yet. They are over the line to start his lap, so at the moment Norris is out, but he is on a lap now. So Bearman or Norris, that's who's going through, unless Albon could do something back there. He's not 26.4 and 26.6. He's not far off, he's not far off at all. The top times here, he's in the mix here, Albon. Norris in the first sector, 26.4, so he is matching-ish. In fact, he's slower than Albon, actually. It is a personal best. So it's Albon and Norris who are watching it. This is a weird end, isn't it? 3/10 covering the top 10, indeed. Yeah, it is so close out there. Albon only goes 14th, so the final sector, not great from Alex Albon. Lando Norris needs this. He could do with this being purple, couldn't he? He's only just up 200ths of a second on Bearman. This is really tight here. But he's got a little toe on the run. From Bortoleto on the run to Parabolica, but there's going to be traffic there. He just gets out of the way. This is going to be tight. He might be okay. That toe may have helped him, but it is very, very tight. Lando Norris to the line goes P5, so he's okay, but that was squeaky bum time. 6,000 slower than Russell in 4th, who was only 1,000 slower than Oscar Piastri in front there. So that was a little bit nervy there from Lando Norris. It just goes to show, with the field being so tight, one mistake can really pile the pressure on. So he's going to have to have a cleaner Q3, but there was a moment there where, was it Bortoleto came across, and I wondered if he was going to impede him there, but all good in the end for Norris. He's through to P5. Piastri only P3, though, so, I mean, McLaren not the dominant force I was expecting coming into this weekend. It's very close. Half a second, we'll say 6/10. 0.5677 covers the top 15 cars. Less than 3/10 between the top 10. Wow. So we've lost Bearman, we've lost Hulkenberg, we've lost Sainz, Albon, and Esteban Ocon. Verstappen fastest to 19.1, Antonelli 19.2, Piastri at 19.2, Russell at 19.2, Norris at 19.2, Leclerc at 19.3, Bortoletto at 19.3, Alonso, Hamilton 19.3s, and Tsunoda at 1.19.4. Bearman missing out on Q3 by 13 thousandths of a second. Yes, Tsunoda in Q3, just scraping through, but he's through. Could Red Bull sacrifice him? No disrespect to Yuki if he's likely to be around 9th, 10th anyway. Do you sacrifice him for a toe for Max? Probably not. Max needs to have some good pace there. So, but that was a little close at the end, wasn't it? There from Lando Norris. He'll be a bit nervy, or probably not nervy, but his team would have been nervy. McLaren a high drag, remember, says Craig. Well, I mean, Piastri has the low drag front wing on, doesn't he, this weekend? So, watch Piastri do it again, by the way. Norris, the quicker of the two all weekend, get to qualifying, Piastri delivers. I guess Piastri delivers where it matters. What is a Lesmo? Why does Martin keep saying Lesmo? It's funny to hear. So, Lesmo is the name that you're given to turn 6 and turn 7 at Monza. Where are you, Kevin? There we go. So I am going to search Lesmo. I may regret this. So it's a commune in Italy, the Lesmo. So I assume that's something to do with, that'll be around where that is. So yeah, so Lesmo is a commune in the province of Monza. So there you go. So that's what the corners are called. Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2, or if you prefer, turn 6 and 7. But I'll always try and use names when I can, but I know that maybe everyone won't know that. But yeah, that answers that one. So there we go. And to be fair, I just learned something. So every day's a school day. Every day's a school day. Science says, when he was told it was P13. Isack Hadjar looks, pretty pissed off on his way back to the pit lane there. Not happy at all. But yes, all falling apart there for Racing Bulls today. We are waiting now for Q3. I will say before we get there, please do drop a like on the stream. I like to try and get to 100 if we can on these, and we're on 76, so 24 more likes. We'll hit that 100 and I can stop banging on about it. I'll ask you again later in the stream before I finish, but I'll leave it alone now. So if we get to 100, that'd be amazing. And please do subscribe if you are new. Lots to come this weekend. Thank you to Corey, by the way, for subscribing as well. I've got the race watch on tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. BST. Thomas will be with you on Monday with a wrap up from the paddock. And then, of course, we're into a non-race week, so that'll be some more evergreeny, waffly content, which I'm sure some of you will love. And then, of course, it's on to the next race, which is Baku, where we'll have previews, qualifying watch-alongs and race watch-alongs once again. So likes and subs, greatly appreciated as always. So Luke says, where are you, Luke? Says, just got here. Curious how Max has outpaced McLaren and Mercedes. As Michael said, so are we, Luke. We're not quite sure why he's doing it, but he's doing it. That's some great analysis right there for you, mate. That's some amazing analysis. Don't know why, but he just is. I guess I could just say it's Max Verstappen, but it's so close out there. Little clip of the gravel, slight lock-up, tiny mistake could be the difference between P1 and P5 or 6 out there. It's so close. So, yeah. Bob says, any chance of a tour of your model collection behind Sean? I could do. I can't guarantee it, but maybe something we could do for post-season. If you're going to be around for that, Bob, that'd be all right. Because I've got a lot of cars up there. Actually, I've got the, I might pull it down for tomorrow, the 312T, which of course is the special livery this weekend. It's up there somewhere. They're all dated, so I'm not sure where they are, but yeah. Probably at some point, because there's quite a few interesting bits up there. I'm quite proud of the Max Verstappen Red Bull behind me as well, the big one. That's when the channel was acquired, that was one of the first things I bought. I was like, I'm having one of them because it's cool, and I've always wanted a biggish car, so there you go. I can't afford a real F1 car. I've had a look. I'm not sure it would fit in here. Unless I did the stream in it, but then I'd have to fit in it, so... The car has pace, it's just the balance. When Max is on it, the car's unbeatable until the brake starts overheating and lets the engineer know, says Lewis. Yeah, it'll soon let GP know, won't he? There you go, banking. Everyone have a drink. I did say banking. Yeah. Luke says Schumacher was the GOAT. Luke's on my page, you see. Michael Schumacher, my hero. The GOAT. Miss him. I'm going to make a point of watching the 90s season reviews in the coming weeks, I think. Watch his F1 career back then into the early 2000s, of course, as well. I mean, we are in the early 2000s still, I suppose, but you know what I mean. The early noughties, or the noughties full stop. Does this mean Lando will have another set of softs for Q3, says Bugs? I did wonder about that, but then I was thinking that one, but Crofty said in commentary that they'll maybe use that first set from the last session that he ruined for his first run in but that he got rid of for his first run in Q3, because usually the front runners tend to use a used set, don't they? So they might just use those again, so he's still got a set, but if his lap time isn't good enough, he might need to. Yeah, so... Kieran says, I'm just playing VR while listening to this. What you playing, Kieran? Obviously VR, but what you playing on VR? Intrigued to know. We are go for Q3. We're about 30 seconds in. In fact, we're a bit more than that now. Nearly a minute in, but we are, as usual, waiting for cars to come out on track. My stream is still slightly ahead. I'd rather be slightly ahead than 10 laps behind like we were last Sunday. That was difficult. Raw data, says Kieran. Just data. A game from yonks ago, I need the exercise, says Kieran. There you go. I'm going to say something. I can't remember what it was. It got up my head completely. Remember what he did to Damon Hill in Adelaide, says Craig. Yeah, but... You know. Look at me desperately trying to find a way to defend it. You know, my Villeneuve deliberately magnetised his car in 97 doesn't work. You guys don't believe that. Yeah, well, you know, I don't know. I can't defend it. His mirrors were broken. They were smudged. There was I don't know, a drawing on it. You couldn't see. What I will say, just very quick, I wait for these cars to go round. Thinking back to that, I was discussing this with somebody a while ago now. But actually, when you go back to that Adelaide race, I'm not saying that it's Damon Hill's fault, but in that situation, a driver of more experience doesn't throw it up the inside of Schumacher there and they wait to see what happens. Again, not blaming Hill for that. I'm just saying that with the benefit of 30 years of hindsight? It's more than 30 years, Sean. 30 years of hindsight. It's easy to say that at the time, you know, heat at the moment, you get why he went for it, but I think a more experienced driver wouldn't have done that. But what is it that Martin says? He'd have treated that Benetton like the hind legs of a donkey. But yeah, not Damon Hill's fault. I will be honest, I do feel for Damon Hill in that situation when I watched the footage back, but I was also quite happy that Schumacher won, so... Here goes Lando Norris. He is on a fresh set of softs, so maybe he is going to use 2 sets here, which could compromise it tomorrow. Interesting what Pirelli release, actually, tonight or tomorrow morning with what tyres are left. We'll have a look at the start of the watch-along tomorrow and see what tyres everyone's got left. Here we go. Lando Norris. 8 minutes and 50 to go. First one, I think. Is he going to be first to get a lap in? I think he will be. Yes, he will. So Perp in the first sector, obviously 26.5. I'll come back to your chats in a minute. I'm just we'll come back to you in the little gap that we get between the first runs and the second runs in Q3. Keep an eye on what's happening here with 8 minutes to go. But Norris obviously going to be... Piastri's beat him in the first sector. By a whole tenth, actually, nearly. 26.594, 26.497. Leclerc beats it with a 26.265. Ooh, Charles. Don't get... No, because they're going to end up 10th. I'm not going to get my hopes up. It'll all fall apart. Hamilton does a 26-2. That might send the Tifosi wild. Any Ferrari on pole will send the Tifosi wild. It's a 19-4 for Norris. I was reading the times wrong, by the way. Piastri was only a little bit quicker than him. I was looking at Antonelli's times. But Piastri purple in the middle sector. Antonelli does a 1:19.7 on a used set of soft tyres. So not actually a terrible lot there from Antonelli at all, as Piastri goes fastest. 4/10, nearly quicker than his teammate. Wow. But the Ferraris are on the move here. They're a little bit, well, they're quite a bit slower than Piastri in the middle sector, though. So maybe Ferrari aren't going to get me too excited here. But here comes George Russell to the line. Goes second. Here goes Leclerc on a 1:19 flat. He's half a tenth quicker than Oscar Piastri. Lewis Hamilton is about to come to the line as well. Goes third on a 1:19.1. Oh, no. Just waiting for it all to fall apart now. This never works. Somebody's having a battery issue, apparently, according to Crofters. Max Verstappen goes pole. 1:18.9. We're nearly at the fastest time. Where's that come from, Max? First sector, down. Second sector, little bit up. Final sector, only a little bit up. So that is really close. Max Verstappen. This is at the moment between Verstappen, Leclerc, Piastri, Hamilton, Russell, and arguably Bortoletto. What's happening with Norris? Is it Norris with a battery issue? I'm going to rewind very, very quickly on my Sky thing. This is the advantage to Sky, I will say. He definitely has a battery issue. Yuki Tsunoda might have a battery issue, is what Crofty said there. Just to let you know, I thought I'd mention that because I just said it off the cuff without checking who it was. But yes, Tsunoda might have a battery issue. But actually, to be ahead of Alonso, the battery issue isn't terrible, is it? On used tyres. So used tyres for Bortoletto. Half a second off on used tyres is not bad at all, is it? Antonelli used tyres, Tsunoda used tyres, Alonso used tyres as well. But Max Verstappen currently with 5 minutes and 40 seconds to go on provisional pole position, 800ths clear of Charles Leclerc, who is half a tenth clear of Oscar Piastri, who is 0.068 clear of Lewis Hamilton, who is 0.033 clear of George Russell. Bortoletto 2/10 further back, Norris 300ths off in 7th there, Antonelli 3/10 down nearly, Tsunoda right behind Antonelli 11 thousandths, and Fernando Alonso 0.094 off. There'll be people going, can you just stick to a time format, Sean, please? Rather than changing every person, but you know, just make it interesting. So, the last two sectors are where drivers are making up their speed. Hamilton's setup is slightly wrong, or he has a setup for the race, says Hansi. Something to bear in mind for tomorrow. But it is, I mean, it's so close. It is so close out there. A couple of hundredths of enough between one or two places. Emo Flamingo says, dude, imagine Verstappen pole with Hamilton right next to him 2021 days. Or don't set people off. That's an exciting thought on the run to turn 1 tomorrow, isn't it? Just a Verstappen versus Hamilton battle would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. There you go. I was right. 1:18.887. And it was in there somewhere. Rubens Barrichello, I believe, still has the fastest lap here as well. Race lap 2004, I believe. So it was 2004. He won. Ferrari 1-2. Schumacher second. He got fastest lap and was on pole, wasn't he, in 2004, I believe? Rubens Barrichello. If that's right, I have no idea where I saw that information, by the way. Don't ask me what I had for dinner last night, but if you want to ask me where nonsense like that, yeah, just falls out. Lewis says people keep saying Hamilton is setting up for the race, but it hasn't worked out once this year. People just need to accept Ferrari don't do it. Bono says, how many F1 gamers, stream followers came here due to his bad lagging today? Sorry about that. Sorry for F1 gamers. I hope he gets his stream sorted for I assume he does the race ones as well, so hopefully all right for him tomorrow. But you're welcome here. Thank you for popping along. I very much I don't know how everyone else sees it. in the F1 YouTube community, but I see it as we're all pretty much one big family and there's room for everyone. So happy to welcome you all here. Please do like and sub though. Cliche YouTuber line right there. But yeah, very, very welcome as always. If there is one driver who can find time out of nowhere, it's Max. It just does, doesn't it? I mean, I was watching his lap times and they were fine. They were competitive, but I expected him to slot in behind Leclerc. But then just that final sector was just marginally quicker, 300s-ish quicker. And just sort of slotted in there, so... Luke says, I went AFK for 2 minutes and came back to declare P2. Yeah, Bortoletto only half a second off on a used set of tyres as well there. So, I don't know what I'd do if we got a proper shock pole. Like, it's not going to happen. I'm just saying, if like we got a shock Bortoletto, like Magnussen in Brazil a few years back. Oh, on the bridge. I thought those people were on the track. We've got the soft tyres on. Is that right? A firm is what Russell is told. So I thought I said I wanted the mediums. Oh. George fancied the mediums. He was quick in Q1, wasn't he? Thank you, Bono. Appreciate that. And we got 200 likes as well. So thank you very much, everyone, for dropping likes. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I wasn't keeping up on it. So this is going to be chaos. Here goes Leclerc. Just to let you know, as driver, Verstappen's my driver, but Ferrari are very much my team and will always be my team. So I'll try not to get too excitable and start screaming down the mic when it goes my way for a change. It's felt like a while since it's gone my way. It'd be a great way to bounce back from Zandvoort to be a Ferrari pole, given how miserable that all ended. Yeah, mistake by Hamilton, of course, to crash at turn 3, and then Antonelli just, yeah. Torpedoed Charles Leclerc, didn't he? So that was a fun one to contact live. The Ferrari's not quick in the first sector, actually. Both not in the personal best. They've done the yellow times in that first sector, but they're not far off the quickest time. A few hundredths in it. So, in fact, actually, Hamilton quicker in that first sector than Verstappen. So the colours you're seeing aren't necessarily... making these bad laps, but I will say Hamilton does improve in the middle sector, but he's still down on Verstappen. The track is not really improving here. Could the medias have been the way to go? Piastri's gone purple in the middle sector, but he's still a 10th down on Max Verstappen. So this at the moment looking like Norris is improving, which is good for him, but he's still a little bit... it's so tight. I'm not even going to say it. Leclerc doesn't improve. It's P2. I've jinxed it all. It's a 1:19.007. Piastri to the line. Hamilton stays 4th. I'm waiting for Piastri. He goes P2. So Max Verstappen currently on provisional pole, but Lando Norris is improving. Norris goes fastest. Where the hell has that come from? A 1:18.8. I did say with his times they were close, but Lando Norris takes provisional pole, but then Max Verstappen snatches it back right at the death with a 1:18.762. Max Verstappen, unless we're going to get a shock here, we're not. Antonelli goes 7th. George Russell coming to the line now. That was a crazy, and it didn't look like I was improving. And suddenly, Norris takes provisional pole and gets it snatched away by Max Verstappen. George Russell goes 6th fastest. Alonso stays 9th with his lap. Yuki Tsunoda not improving out there. And I'm just watching the driver tracker. Is he moving at a great rate of knots? 35.6. He's not, is he, there at all, Tsunoda? So Max Verstappen. Wow, on pole position for the Italian Grand Prix, a 1:18.792 for him, 700ths or 0.077 if you like, quicker than Lando Norris, who I thought had nicked it at the end there. Oscar Piastri a 10th further back, so the gap's opened up there a little bit. Leclerc a 1/4 of a 10th off P3, with Hamilton a 10th further back. Russell 33 thousandths off, Antonelli 43 thousandths off. They're 6th and 7th off each other, I should say. Bortoletto a couple of tenths back in 8th place. Great effort from him. Fernando Alonso 9th, and Yuki Tsunoda, who we believe was having a battery issue, in P10. But yeah. Wow. Norris got lucky with a tow from Oscar, says V6 Turbo. He is behind Piastri, so fair shout there potentially. But yeah, M. Harasi just said, what a session. What a quality session indeed. That was a lot of fun. From start to finish, it was so close. We only have 7/10 between the top 10, which is, funnily enough, I think, one of the bigger gaps this weekend between the top 10. So it all opened out a little bit in qualifying, but that was still so close. At one point, we had, 0.8 of a second between P1 and P20. So, I mean, that was quite a first session. Lots of twists in there. We thought Norris was in trouble. He snuck through into Q1 very late on there, didn't he? And then thought he'd nicked pole at the end, but it wasn't quite. I thought Ferrari were on it, but I jinxed them by getting excited. And Bortoletto right up there. So, fantastic stuff. I will run through the times properly in just a moment for the timestamp. I'll have a pause and have a drink and get ready to run through that. But then we'll do qualifier of the day, which I appreciate. I will say it. We've got some new people here today. I know qualifier of the day is really officially Max Verstappen because he took pole position, but you know what I mean. A bit like driver of the day. Should be the race winner, but it's not always voted that way, is it? So he's beaten everyone else, but we'll do that one, and then we'll look ahead to tomorrow's race as well. So thank you. If you are new, by the way, thank you for popping along. Hopefully see you all again at some point, but I'll be live for a good half an hour yet, and then we'll answer some of your questions. Because that was such a good session, I might leave that point I wanted to make on Stefano Domenicali until tomorrow, and then do that one there. But that was a great session. Really enjoyed that. A lot of fun. I am going to disappear for 15 seconds. Is my record 14 seconds for a drink and then back? So I am going to disappear so I don't dribble it down my front because I try and rush it for 15 seconds. So I'll go quiet, but I'll be back, and then we'll run through the order, and then we'll talk about tomorrow and all that stuff I just said. So you can count them. Who's timing them today? Let's see. I went too quickly. There we go. Hey, Kaori. Hope you well. Max Verstappen is on pole position for the 2025 Italian Grand Prix, pipping right at the end Lando Norris, who I thought had nicked it, to pole by, 77 thousandths of a second. So close across the whole field today. Oscar Piastri, P3 behind his teammate there. So follow him home. If that stays like that, Piastri will be relatively content, I'd imagine, tomorrow because of the lead he's got, but he'll want to get ahead of his teammate, I'm sure. Charles Leclerc, P4, and Lewis Hamilton, P5, 3/10. Separating the top 5, 3.5 tenths actually only separating the top 6, with George Russell in 6th place, just ahead, very marginally ahead of his teammate Kimi Antonelli, who's recovered well from his spin and beach in FP2 on Friday. Gabriel Bortoletto 8th, or was it FP1? Whichever. Bortoletto 8th, great drive from him again today. A couple of tenths off Antonelli and 6/10 off pole position. Alonso 9th and Yuki Tsunoda in 10th place. Very little between those as well. Apparently Tsunoda possibly, maybe, perhaps with a few battery issues, which might explain why he is behind Alonso, but 10th place is in and around where Yuki's been of late at times, so maybe not, we'll see. But great to see him in Q3 again. Ollie Bearman, P11, 119.4. He was, as I recall, about 100th of a second off Q3, so frustration there. But 11th isn't a terrible place to start. We've seen him score points from further back than that, so he could score tomorrow. Hulkenberg 12th, Carlos Sainz 13th, Alex Albon 14th, Esteban Ocon in 15th place. We lost those in Q2. Hadjar not happy on his walk back to the paddock. He was 16th for his podium, of course, in Zandvoort, so big job tomorrow for Racing Bulls on home soil. 17th for Lance Stroll, 18th for Franco Colapinto. Doesn't look spectacular, but he did out-qualify teammate Pierre Gasly, who is 19th, and Liam Lawson in 20th place in the second Racing Bulls. As I said a little bit earlier in the stream, don't be surprised if we see a couple of those towards the back end of the field take some new engines, given that we've got quite a run coming up to the end of the season, and some power-hungry tracks as well between now and Abu Dhabi, so it might be worth getting another engine in the pool for, let's say, Liam Lawson, for example, so don't be surprised if we see that. The stewards have investigated Kimi Antonelli for failing to follow race director's instructions regarding the maximum delta time, and no further action has been taken, as is pretty much the norm. But yes, Max Verstappen on... It feels a bit odd saying it, but I would say shock pole for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Bit of a surprise to see him up there. Bit of a surprise. Like I say, I will be live for another 20 minutes, half an hour. So if you are going, hopefully see you all again tomorrow. Takira's going to... Takira, I can't say your name today, he'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for popping along. Thank you to Lake Lecco as well for subscribing from Down Under. There we go. What time is it where you are? I did have it on here. So keep an eye on the net. But I think it's gone 1 o'clock in the morning there. So really appreciate your company. But yeah, please do pop back tomorrow. It'd be great to have you here. But I am going to stay live for a bit longer. So if you are disappearing, thank you very much. Likes and subs as always. And hopefully catch you tomorrow. But for the rest of you, get your questions and your comments in. I'll read lots of them in the next 20 minutes, half an hour. I'll give some of my thoughts as we go as well. Any questions are welcome regarding F1, but I will pretty much answer anything. But if we can keep it somewhat relative to the weekend, that would be ideal, just initially at least. So yeah, 1:09 a.m. There you go. That's commitment. Craig as well there. Thank you very much for your support. Extra commitment there from down under. It is done, Ray. Yes, Max Verstappen on pole, Norris second, Piastri third. But yeah, that was a fun session. Really enjoyed that. I think a lot of qualifiers have been fun this year. They tend to be, don't they, to be fair. But hopefully we'll get a great race tomorrow. Monza, we said it last week, it's not easy to overtake on, but it's easier than Zandvoort. And if we've got a little bit of a mixed up grid, that could be interesting. I say mixed up though. We are Noah's Ark behind Verstappen initially, aren't we? 2 McLarens, 2 Ferraris, 2 Mercedes. So maybe not as mixed up as we think. But yeah, that was good. So I'm looking forward to that race tomorrow. Couple of cars out of position, I feel. I'm certain there's more pace in the Williams than that based on what we saw throughout the weekend. Hulkenberg, if Bortoletto's up there, you'd expect Hulkenberg to come through as well tomorrow. Hoping there's more pace in the Racing Bulls, we'll see. But yeah, I think we've got a good grid there, and it could give us some great racing. But right at the front, Max Verstappen, I mean, tough task tomorrow to keep the McLarens behind, hasn't he? But we know that Red Bull can be pretty good in a straight line, so let's see what happens. So Stickerbrick says, is Norris on a new engine after last week or no? I don't think so, Sticker. I can check for you because they identified it as a sachet issue. I meant chassis issue. But I can just double check if they've got them in here now. So let's have a look at the power units used. So he was on 4, wasn't he, last week? So not if he's got a different power unit, he might have a different power unit in, but it's not a new one because he's still got the same elements used as last weekend. So he may well have a different unit in, but it's not a brand spanking new one because otherwise he would have to take a penalty, wouldn't he? It would be 5 for everything. So yeah, no, it was a chassis issue rather than I assume installing it is the thing, isn't it? So that was a McLaren problem, not a Mercedes problem, which is rare this season. No shade at Mercedes, really, but yeah. Ferrari is rapid in a straight line and he will start on mediums, says Wyander, talking about Lewis Hamilton will finish on the podium. Wyander, sorry. I try to find his 5th. There we go. I couldn't find him there. He's 5th behind his teammate, isn't he? So, look, if we can get the Ferraris on the podium tomorrow, we're very happy. In whatever order, I don't care. But that's going to be potentially a really fun fight tomorrow because I think if it's as close in the race as it was in qualifying, game on for sure. Norris will win tomorrow, says Noor Hanazam. I am terrible name, so I apologise. But yeah, there you go. Burning oil creates smoke, says Kaori. Yeah, as Kerry, you've got there could be. I don't know if there's something rubbing as well, but I don't think. And if correct me if I'm wrong, I'm always going to have a look. But I don't think McLaren have really specified what the issue is as such. So yeah, but would you just say not an engine, wouldn't you? So who do we think has a better, worse raceable car tomorrow? Question mark, says Nilesh. God, that's a question and a half. I mean, I don't know. Is the short answer, but I think it's close. But McLaren are going to be in there, aren't they? They will have the car to beat tomorrow on pace, I'd imagine. But it's if it's one of those situations where it's so close out there that the drivers are making the difference, and that's, Verstappen's shown that here today. So if he could do that tomorrow, but I think it's very difficult to look beyond McLaren because they are just so good at the minute. But I've just got a good feeling. I can't remember saying this. I've just got a good feeling about Ferrari. It's going to be my early prediction. We'll do some predictions, but yeah. Stickerbrick says Norris will be 3rd by turn 3, guaranteed. You watch. It's an interesting rundown to turn 1 here. We could be 3 wide into turn 1 at the front, which could be slightly chaotic when we get there, but I read it was an oil tube that was 2 weeks, says Nilesh. That could be it. So, yeah. The race will be decided by tyre strategy and safety car timing again tomorrow. Yeah, safety car, not all that common at Monza. 10 since 2000, and that was the first one. So that's full safety car and virtual. I think full safety car is 9. With virtual, it's 10. So they're not all that common. But we do tend to see more, or I feel like we see more this season than we usually do. I don't know, but I haven't counted. I'll go and do that at the end of the season, work out that kind of thing. But I feel like we definitely see them more often these days. We've not had one since 2022, so it will be part of it. Of course, it's strategy key tomorrow. I'm expecting one stoppers across the board. The pit lane loss time here is quite long, one of the longest of the season. So I have a feeling that we'll be looking at a one stopper, but. Again, on the safety car, you get a safety car timed perfectly for you. You may as well take a second stop. So, yeah, it's going to be good tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Kaori says, I didn't wake up until Q3. What was Isaac's deal getting knocked out in Q1? Issue slow. I'll have to rewatch quali later. He actually, as Michael said, he ran wide on his attempts, so kicking up some gravel at one point. I think Liam Lawson had a similar issue on one of his runs as well. So just frustration on the face of Isack Hadjar. It's quite a bump, isn't it, when you go from podium to 16th in quali the next weekend? But let's see what we can do tomorrow. So that's why wasn't a car issue. Yeah. It's I don't know. We'll do predictions shortly as well, so we'll definitely do that in a bit. But who did I pick for the Norris, wasn't it? So all on him this weekend. So let's see. 3 into 1 doesn't go, says Craig. Exactly. I saw a good comment I'm not able to find now, didn't I? And I'm going to have to see if I can find it, and I bet I can't. I've read that one. Lando will leave the door open. Oscar will drive right by, says V6 Turbo. I mean, if Norris ends up too preoccupied with Verstappen, it might open the door there as well, might it? So I think the track evolution dies so quickly. Yeah. What's between Hadjar and Sainz, says Jithu. Driver-wise, Ocon and Albon, timing-wise, difficult. I haven't got all the times up for the whole session, so officially it'll be, what is that? 4/10, but it'll be less than that in that last session, wasn't it? So, qualifying is, it's done. Trickster, it's done. Quali's over. Max Verstappen on pole position. It's been close, and it was difficult to call right up until the end, and it looked as though Lando Norris on his final run had just nicked it, and then Verstappen with what I think was an incredible. Let's have a look. His final sector was incredible. 6,000 quicker than Lando Norris. It was that close out there, and he just nicked it right at the end with a heck of a ride. His first sector in his final sector, bear that in mind tomorrow, quicker than Norris. So that's where he's quick. So yeah, it is done. That is your grid on the left-hand side there. That is your grid for the race tomorrow, the Italian Grand Prix. Should we do some predictions? Do that while I remember. Pop your top 3 in chat. I will do mine, and although I'll be scored in my season predictions on the Thursday ones, I might change it up slightly because Max Verstappen has thrown in a curveball this weekend for me. I did on Thursday go with Norris, Piastri, and then Leclerc, which is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, interesting enough. So, I would really love Verstappen to win it. 1, for obvious reasons, and 2, it'd just be nice to see that McLaren run of wins broken up. But I just fancy McLaren to have the quicker car tomorrow, so I could just go Norris, Piastri, Verstappen. Probably the way it's going to get. Let's make it a bit more interesting. Let's go Norris, Verstappen, and then Piastri or Leclerc. I'm not doing it. I'm not putting Leclerc on the podium. I did it on Thursday. I'll jinx it again. I'll go with that. So I'll just swap the top 3 around a little bit there to give you my top 3. Tracy says, sorry, what I meant to ask was why wasn't there Q2 and Q... we did have all 3 quali sessions, Trickster. We did, didn't we? Yeah, we did. I'm sat here for an hour and 49 minutes. What have I just talked about? Yeah, no, we definitely did. We definitely did. We lost... Yeah, because we lost Hadjar, Stroll, Colapinto, Gasly, and Lawson, and then we lost Bearman, Hulkenberg, Sainz, Albon, and Ocon. So I doubted myself there. I was like, did I just watch this? Making this one up? Jithu says, crazy prediction time. How did Williams went from top 5 contenders and out in Q2? Yeah, don't know. I feel though, Jithu, we've seen that a few times this season. Williams looking incredibly strong, and then sort of fall away in quali. But again, a tenth of a second made such a difference out there, didn't it today? So. Let's do these predictions then. So, Kaori is saying Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, agreeing with my Thursday predictions. I don't want to get my hopes up for Leclerc on the podium. I predicted Albon for Q3 in quality, so I'm staying away from guessing, says Michael. Craig says Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton in no particular order. Right, Craig. You might know what's coming out. What happens to Verstappen and Norris? Are you thinking turn 1 gets a bit spicy, or are they just going to be unlucky and end up well down there? I would like an Imola 2.0 masterclass, but the straights are too long for McLaren to ruin that, Sean. Max, Piastri and Leclerc says M. Harati. Yasmin says, nah, man, please let Charles have his podium. It'd be good, wouldn't it? He was on the podium. He won last year, didn't he? So... You never know. All sessions did happen. Thank you. I don't know why I was doubting myself. I'm sure I've just watched all that. Neil says DRS is extremely weak around it. Yeah, it's much weaker here. It's to do with the low downforce, isn't it? So it's less effective for sure. Norris and Piastri both have more wins than Leclerc. Kind of mad. Craig says, yes, contacted to turn 1. There you go. Piastri engine failure incoming, says CPB. It would be crazy if Leclerc doesn't score any points this race because of Ferrari strategy if it's that bad. Yeah. Look, if you said to me today that Ferrari throw away a win or a podium because of bad strategy, I'm not going to tell you you're mad. I'd probably just believe you. So... there you go. I predict track temperature will be shocking colder than expected. Letting Merc get past Ferrari somehow says Nilesh. That'd be good. That'd be a twist. A nice little curveball tomorrow. Changing, not necessarily with rain, but just a change in track temperature might spice things up a little bit. But yeah, keep your predictions coming in. I'll keep reading them as we go through. But yeah, very much looking forward to this one. How advantageous is the undercut here? Says Jithu. That's a freaking good question. I don't know. I need to go. I would check for tomorrow what the official line is on that, or what a more expert analysis of that is. But I think with the pit lane being quite long here, you're going to want to come through once. You're going to get one shot of the undercut. I'm not sure. Chat might have an answer, but I'll have a look for tomorrow, Jithu. Sorry, I read your question, don't answer it, so I'll say very, but I don't know for sure. I feel in the past like the undercuts work quite well. I'm just trying to think back to some examples, but I seem to recall we've had moments where there's been quite a gap between drivers, not like 20 seconds or anything, but a decent gap, and then the guy who's pitted first for the undercut has got very close to getting past, if not got past. So I feel like it should be fairly strong here, but I feel like the undercut's pretty powerful at most places, isn't it? But last year's tyres did very well. I mean, it was a one-stopper last year. I think Leclerc pitched on lap 15, didn't he? Go medium hard, so yeah. Verstappen versus Norris crash first turn, says Cannon. I want Norris versus Verstappen 2.0, says I'll just say crack foot Guyan. Sorry, I'm awful. Hopefully a good race, says Kieran. Actually, Kieran says Godu race, but I know he means good. There you go. I predict Norris bottling it off the line, letting Verstappen, Piastri and Leclerc to go 3 wide, leading to damage. DNF for Leclerc, says Nilesh. Nilesh kicking me while I'm down. Verstappen already the 5th greatest racer of all time. And there's a question there that I'm intrigued by. Yeah. Qualifying's done. Yeah, qualifying is done. I just leave the times up because then we've got the times there ready to go through. So it's weird listening to people talk about Mercedes now being a one-car team like Red Bull. Well, I mean, look. Antonelli's 400s behind Russell today, so it's a good recovery from what happened in Zandvoort, a bad run of races, and what happened at the start of or in practice this weekend. But he needs to put. Do you know what I want to see from Antonelli more than anything? And it's nothing to do with his gaps, George Russell. I just want to see him put a whole weekend together. I think a good weekend. What he needs to get through practice, no problems. Do a decent lap in quali like he's done today, and then in the race, no mistakes, just get on with it. Even if he only ends up 8th place and his teammates 4th, just get a good weekend together with some points on the board, just to stop this run that he's on, because it's got to be playing a part psychologically. It has to, surely, right? So hopefully he can put a weekend together. It can't technically be this weekend because he had that spin in practice, but if he can get points and drive well, no mistakes, no contact, does a decent job tomorrow and is a couple of places behind Russell, then maybe that is his jumping off point for the rest of this season. So this feels like it's going to be Kimi's weekend, says AL Productions. Kieran says spelling is overrated. Don't want to jinx it for us, says Nilesh. Would George have improved on mediums on? We will never know, but at least Kimi is close to him, says Jitu. We'll never know, like you say, but it would be nice to know, wouldn't it? I kind of wish I'd listened to him, but those first runs in Q1, he was very happy on the mediums, so if he was asking for them, that would be one for the debrief. I do wonder if, or why they've done that, but I suppose they've got more data than he has. There's a race going on outside my house at the minute on the old Tritton Road there for some reason. I just want to see Stroll come from behind time and time again, says Bernard. Well, where did he qualify in? Was he last on the grid in Zandvoort and came home ahead of Fernando Alonso, and in the points? So I've said this before and I'll say it again. If Stroll can do that with his qualifying weakness, what could he do if he qualified higher? All right, fine, he's in a faster car getting past other cars, whatever, and maybe safety cars have helped and things like that, but all those times where he's sort of been in a good, like back to the pink Mercedes days, when it was qualifying, getting knocked out in Q1, and then coming through and finishing top 8 or whatever. Imagine what he'd been able to do if he qualified inside the top 8. Goodness me. I don't know what Craig's obsessions with bacon today, but there you go. I probably missed something, or said something, or just generally made a noise probably. But I know Kimi had that spin in practice, but his qualies today, oh my god, this is definitely going to be a good weekend for him against his AL Productions. Yeah, I guess practice. Look, I'm going to make this point a bit more broadly tomorrow, but practice is boring to watch, and it's supposed to be, because it is literally an opportunity for drivers to brace yourself, practice. I know, clues in the name. So if a driver spins out in Q1 and beats it in the gravel like Kimi did, it's not the end of the world because he's trying to find the limits or whatever. That's kind of the best time to do it. So if he can bounce back from that with a good result, which he has in quali, and then maybe some points as well, it's all forgotten, isn't it? Nobody's thinking about that as much. So it's only really the trolls on Twitter who give a toss about spins in practice and any opportunity to have a go. So it's a good point. I hope he does well. I'd like to see Kimi have a good run between now and the end of the season. I will always say as well, because Toto Wolff has said publicly they're sticking with Russell and Antonelli. He's clear on that. But until that's all signed off and confirmed, anything can happen. So he could just do with just putting any of those doubts to bed quickly, could Antonelli. So I don't expect it to. He'll be there next year, I'd have thought, but always nice to just got a good run, isn't it? So I'm not sure I'm watching on an advert there. Someone being dipped in. Oh, it's a. Anyway, it's weird. Max is happy with the car and feels good. I think Max will win. If Stroll goes above Alonso once more, Alonso will jump off a cliff. So, like the IT crowd where Random jumps out the window. Yeah. If McLaren stay close behind Verstappen, they risk Suzuka-ing it. Good point. Yeah, there could be a bit of a DRS train effect there. Verstappen is vulnerable at the front at the start, and again once the DRS kicks in. But if he breaks that DRS and the McLaren starts squabbling, it might just open the door for him actually to disappear with this one. So I'd love to, yeah. Have you spoken about Stefano's comments on shorter race? I can guarantee it won't lead to cheaper tickets, says Moray. I'm going to do it tomorrow, Moray, because I've got a whole thing I want to say about it. It's going to take me probably about 10 minutes. And I'm going to wrap up in a minute because I've got to go soonish. So I will do it tomorrow. Possibly pre-race, depends on how much we've got to get through in the morning or in the afternoon, but certainly tomorrow afternoon. But long story short, I just find it's a very short-sighted view. I also find it, I appreciate I'm nearly 40, so I have no right to comment on younger people, but I do feel it's a bit insulting as well to younger people that they apparently have no attention span. But I think that's maybe it's true, I don't know, but there are people here who are maybe even in the chat who are much younger than me who will sit through 8 hours of testing. So, you know, testing streams and that. So I'm not sure I totally agree. But anyway, that's for tomorrow. But I will do tomorrow, definitely. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow and you can catch that one as well. So if not, I could actually clip it up as a short as well for anyone who's interested in my thoughts on that, because it doesn't feel like something that needs a whole video. But might be worth a little moan in the stream and then maybe clipping up as a short. I'll see how I feel. We'll see how we go with that. But yeah. Yeah. I like Kimi a lot of potential, says Tyrantheus. And Stefano's just throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. Yeah. AL Productions, thank you for subscribing, by the way. AL Productions, just caught you on the screen there. Appreciate that. Thank you for getting involved in the chat as well. The Kimi scrutiny is a little unfair because most of the other rookies are against drivers who are new to their teams. Had job also to Bearman. His fairest comparison is to Colapinto. Also, he's been rushed through, hasn't he, Antonelli? He didn't do F3, did he? I still think he could have done with the second season F2. It's my concern with, and again, this is getting into territory maybe for tomorrow or another day, or something I've talked about a lot in the last few weeks, actually, to be fair. It's one of my concerns about Arvid Lindblad. I still feel like he needs another season in F2. And I get that rushing drivers through can work, but not everyone's a Max Verstappen, so I think a year too soon for Antonelli. Too late now, of course. He's in the car. And I think it will be a year too soon for Lindblad as well. But let's see what happens. Yeah. Max sets a record lap time in that dog of a car. Dude, it's just ridiculous, says Chester. It is the record lap time. Thank you, Chester, actually, for reminding me on that one. It was a 1:18.887, wasn't it? So, yeah, that is the fastest ever lap time. There is some discussion they had on Sky today about fastest average lap speed, which is a different thing. But if you are newish to F1, by the way, and you've not seen the Italian Grand Prix at Monza before, tomorrow's race will feel very short. It'll be about an hour and 10-15 minutes, something like that. If we don't get a load of surprise rain and safety cars and whatnot, it'll be a quick one tomorrow. So that's one to keep an eye out stat-wise tomorrow. But yeah, that is the fastest ever lap time around Monza, and it's Max Verstappen in that car again. Yeah, you all know my views on Max Verstappen. He hurts me less than Ferrari, that's for sure. A couple more comments then, and then we'll wrap up, and then that'll be the half hour that I said. So, AL Production says, loving the Kimi love here. Look, if you are new, which I think you are, I think you might be AL Production. Not seen you around before. Apologies if you have been, but I will just say you'll always get a fair assessment here. I'm not one of these that will jump on a clickbaity, screamy, shouty, knee-jerk reaction. I used to be, but I'm not anymore. I've got older. It comes with age, but I'll always be fair and balanced. I will criticise a driver that needs to be criticised, and I will praise a driver that needs to be praised, and I will always give a fair assessment. I'm not. I'm past that ranty stage. I have my moments. Oh boy, do I have my moments! But I'm definitely past the ranty stage. I used to have. There's some videos on this channel that I got. Some that I've taken down because they're really bad, where I just lose it completely. So yeah, I'll always try my best. But yeah, let's see. Verstappen won loads of things. Absolutely. 4 world titles, of course. Yeah, and about 3 million races in the last 4 years, or it feels like. The answer to can Ferrari build a fast car is 1. Says Ham Macintosh. And Toto's a bad with driver management, says Moray. A little bit, actually, yeah, when you think of it. I mean, I'm not pretending they were future world champions or anything like that, but you look at the handling of Pascal Wehrlein, for example. Not the best, was it, in the end? And even Esteban Ocon to a point. It worked out for Ocon in the end. He got himself a seat back in F1. But I think the only thing I'll say is on that is I think he nailed it with George Russell. I think that 3 years he spent at Williams, I think was about right. Maybe you could argue he could have come up a year earlier, but I think those 3 seasons really set Russell up very, very well. So I don't agree that it was too late, but I think 3 seasons felt about right. But I wouldn't have been averse to him being promoted a year earlier either. So yeah, so Kimi was definitely a year too early, and Bottas. Just to make the point, Maury has said that promotes Russell too late, keeps Bottas too long, promotes Kimi too early. The Bottas one, I do think he kept maybe a year too long, but I think he was waiting for Russell. But at the same time, Bottas, whilst his form dropped off, he was still a safe pair of hands. So I get why he did that. But yeah, he hit and miss is what I'd say there. But I try to think who's got the best. All right, there's one for you then, Maury. I'll throw that one back at you, and then I'll read your answer, and then we'll wrap it up. But who's got the best driver management out there? Teams or team bosses? Anyone can answer, not just Maury. But yeah, people will immediately dismiss Red Bull. But I mean, look at the grid. Quite a lot of ex-Red Bull drivers out there. So, you know. Franz Tost is a great shout, Maury. A great shout. He was just good with young drivers, wasn't he? I always felt as well like he protected them a little bit at Toro Rosso, AlphaTauri, whatever else they became known. I feel like he protected them more or shielded them from some of the Marco stuff. And he's quite defensive of them as well, wasn't he? Which is good to see. So I think that's a great shout, is Franz Tost. On the current grid, I mean, I think Williams do all right with drivers, but they've kind of moved away from the young driver thing now, haven't they? Albon. Apparently Albon, that was the stat from yesterday that shocked me. Albon, the 3rd longest serving Williams driver in history. A stat, again, skewed by the fact we have 342 races a season now compared to 8, or whatever it used to be. But yeah, the thing is, how at Marco, you know, we could joke about Marco, but, you know, Lawson, Gasly, Hadjar, Albon, Tsunoda, Verstappen, a lot of drivers there. So yeah, that's a heck of a stat, Alex Albon. But yeah, do you think Bernie was a better owner of F1, says Kieran? We wouldn't have sprints if Bernie was still around, and we probably wouldn't have testing and practice broadcasts. I mean, depends on how you feel about those. But yeah, it was time to let it go for Bernie. And I think Liberty have done a lot of good. But I'm not 100% thrilled with the direction we're heading in. But I still love F1. I'll always watch it. If I stopped doing this tomorrow, I'd still be watching. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask. But just less of the gimmicks and a bit more focus on fixing, in air quotes, fixing the racing. If you think it needs to be fixed, it's the only word I can think of. I don't mean that, just improving things to give us better racing, and I think it'll be fine. I know a lot of people that are quite happy to sit and watch 4 hours of an F1 race if it was a good race. So yeah. Imagine not having F1 clips on social media in 2025, says Neelesh. Yeah, but Bernie would have held off until as late as he could have done with that one, I'm sure of it. Teams would have made him buckle eventually, I'm sure, but yeah. 4 hours of Monaco, imagine that, says Kieran. Well, if it was a good race, you'd be all right, but yeah. But anyway, any more comments, any more predictions, then I'm going to finish it. I said I'd finish 8 minutes ago, so I'm really on it as usual here. Tarantia says, how do you feel about the changes coming next season? Very long story, very short. Not optimistic, but I also have been pessimistic about a lot of rule changes in the past, and they've actually worked out okay. So not optimistic, but I'll still go with an open mind. So the more I hear of it, the less enthused I am. But hopefully I'm just worrying over nothing. Jithy, I'll tell you what, there you go then. Jithy wants a crazy prediction. One crazy prediction from everybody. I'll read 3 out. Let's agree on that. And I'll give you my crazy prediction. 3 wide into turn 1. The top 3 take each other out. Ferrari cock-up strategy. Antonelli wins his home Grand Prix. There you go. That's a wild, crazy prediction for you. And we get Bortoletto and Alonso on the podium. If any of that happens tomorrow, we're going to have a good race. Or a chaotic race at least. That's for sure. So that's my crazy one. It's not good, and I don't expect it, but you said crazy. So I suppose crazy would have been Lawson, Gasly, Colapinto on the podium. So, but that would... crikey. Exactly, Jithu. Yeah, George Russell finishes 12th. I just sits there going crikey for an hour. I'm going to read 3 out then. So I'll give you a couple more seconds to get some more in, and then I'll read 3 of your crazy ones out. Craig, lay off the bacon, mate. Are you a secret bacon salesman, Craig? Is that... Are you just trying to force us all to eat that now? Our bacon. I don't know if you're northern. You are now, Craig. There you go. Let's read. So I'm going to pick 3 at random then. So we'll go with Paint 2D. Says a Sauber in top 5. And on top of that, you made my voice break there, which is long overdue. Alonso wins after a race on battle with Hamilton, says Max. Oh, back to the glory days. Why not? And one more. That's a completely different conversation. Russell missed his braking point at turn 1 tomorrow and takes out Verstappen like an open lobby racing game, says Nino. So there we go. And apparently I need to Google it. I will Google it. Or I'll just buy a lot of bacon. We'll see what happens. But yes, that is it for this one then. I'm going to wrap it up now. I will be back tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. BST, for the race watch along. Thank you very much for your company today. Been a pleasure as always. Always great to hang out with you on a Saturday and a Sunday afternoon. So very much looking forward to tomorrow. We've got a great grid as well, so lots to look forward to. Thank you as well. If you are new, AL Productions is still there in chat, so thank you for popping along this afternoon and for joining the community. If you have, really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do drop a sub. Always appreciated. And please do like as well before you go. Lots to come. Like I say, our quick rundown. 1:30 tomorrow for the race watch along. Thomas with you on Monday for a wrap of the weekend, and then I'll be back with some videos later next week, and we'll have a good waffle tomorrow as well. So lots to look forward to. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.